Knuckle grip in the neon light, trading pain in the heart of the fight. Shifting gears till the edge feels right. Start 'em up, hear the engines cry. Let the thunder roll, leave no doubt. All or nothing when the checkers come out. Doors beating doors in an all-out fight. This is a Moonshiners Wednesday night. Wednesday night! Legends born in the heat of the fight. Trading pain under stadium lights. Racing roots run deep here. We're racing on a Moonshiners Wednesday night. Every track has a story to tell. Every wall has been one driver's hell. Back in the saddle we go. Ring the bell like a moonshiner. We're riding on rails. Checkers all records. Send it in, set sail. Legends born in the heat of the fight. Trading pain under stadium lights. Racing roots run deep here. We're racing on a Moonshiners Wednesday night. This is 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 a Moonshiners Wednesday night.
The GMD Janitorial Cup Series, we'll see Victor Fluger take the Matt Livery's 300 at Daytona, his first career win in the Moonshiners Racing League. Worked up the track as Matthews. Chris Davis jumps to the inside. Davis cuts underneath. They wreck behind as Davis wins at Echo Park. His first GMD Janitorial Cup Series win comes at Coda. What a race, what a comeback. Bowie gets it done here at Coda. Bowie comes out of the final corner. Brandon Bowie, back to back, he gets it done at Phoenix. Alex Murray has had to fight so many times for opportunities to break through the victory lane this season. He'll get one in Las Vegas. It's Murray in Vegas.
Adversity goes by the wayside. It'll be back-to-back victories for the rookie for Dig eSports, and now he avenges his teammate Alex Murray wins at Darlington.
Once again, it's Bowie to victory lane. It's his third win in MRL this season. Checker flag, the off-axis paint 300 goes to Matt Cox. It's going to be Nico Garcia. He's your boy who goes to victory lane at Kansas. It's not enough, it's Cody Nagel in his environment that gets it done. Tonight, the Moonshiners Racing League. makes its way to the state of Texas. As tonight, it's GMD Janitorial Cup Series looks to rip around Texas Motor Speedway for tonight's coverage of the PayRVA 300 here on Precision Entertainment. Good evening, everyone. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside the booth for tonight, once again, is Dawson Wise. Our producer is Ryan Bauer. Using cameras provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Getting all set to count down for green tonight as we get ourselves set to see how these drivers fare out when we go to green tonight. Tonight, it's a racetrack known for being pretty difficult on the surface. Two different ways of approaching the corners, 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. But tonight, Dawson, these competitors looking to carry momentum as we roll our way through the month of May.
Yeah, No Limits Texas is where we are tonight. That's what they call this place, and that's going to be how the racing is as well. It's one of the most high-speed cookie-cutter ovals that we will go to all season long. And as such, there's going to be constant action tonight. And like you said, a unique track after the reconfiguration about a decade ago certainly is going to make the racing very unique as well. We'll talk about that as we go throughout the night. And coming off of a week like last week where so much shakeup happened throughout the course of the race at Talladega, I imagine a lot of guys are happy to get back to some normalcy, shall we say, at Texas, especially the Red Line team coming off a huge momentum week for them.
Absolutely, especially with Cody Nagels with the speed. Indeed, remember, we're only a couple weeks away from the All-Star break, mind you, but that will be at Charlotte Motor Speedway before having the big race under the lights at Charlotte. But Texas and Watkins, Glen, before we get to that point, a part of the month of May also, as we are still plenty of time away before we get to the Impact Sim Designs chase. Right now, the point standings look like this coming into tonight, though. Brendan Bowie's got the advantage, 33 points up over Alex Murray. Of course, Cody Nagels, not one of the drivers amongst the top 16 in points coming into tonight. Had some missed races over the schedule, but some of the other drivers, like Coffey, trying to hold on to the top spots. Right now, just 2 points up on Brennan. Fitter Place just taking a bit of a tumble. The cut line is also still close, with drivers like Nigel Christensen, William Owens, Kenny Rio, and Mark Sanchez all trading blows along with Johnny Shade. A lot of people looking to survive for Texas, though.
Yeah, Texas, again, a very unique course, and why we say that, it was reconfigured about a decade ago. Turns 1 and 2 made to be about 6 lanes wide. The banking a little bit less than over in turns 3 and 4, and as such, I feel like a lot of the passing tonight will happen over on that end of the racetrack. Course, 1.5 miles in length, 20 degrees in turns 1 and 2, 24 in 3 and 4. You can carry more speed on the opposite end of the racetrack. To me, that means most of the passing is going to happen over in turns 1 and 2. A 29-year-old facility that's ready to host the Moonshiners Racing League tonight.
Should be fun to say the very least, but we're getting all set to look at your starting grid. Getting your pole award when it comes to the Moonshiners Racing League is brought to you by Victory Designs. The Victory Designs pole award tonight once again goes to Alex Coffey. Nico Garcia looks to show everyone why he's good on the 1.5 miles. He's back in the field tonight from second spot. It was 57 1/1000 off the pole. Matt Cox will start at row number 2 tonight, while the revelation of the mid-season joiner, Braden Donaldson, continues to show speed in front of his boss, Alex Murray. William Owens will be amongst the top 6. A majority of the front runners scattered with precision logos. Chris Cornett, though, will start in 7th tonight. Walmart will start alongside Chris Davis. He'll be in the 87. You're 2/10 off the pole. Lane Wilson starts off at 9th. And Brandon Bowie, the points leader, looks to continue things up tonight from 10th.
Pair of beast mode performance entries back on row number 6. It's Sean Rogers on the inside, the 44, another fast 1.5 mile car. Paul Gallimore's resurgence here in 2026 continues. He's finally back inside the top 16 points. He'll go from 12. Row 7 going to be Wayne Bowen making another start in 2026. He'll start from 13th tonight. Alongside the 29 of Mark Sanchez, the Dallas Cowboys aboard that Chevrolet tonight. Row 8, Brandon Fetterplace, heck of a start to his season, but no checkered flags yet. We'll see if we can change that tonight. Alongside Chris Vincent, who's had quite a bit of speed so far this year in one of his first years in the Moonshiners Racing League. Row 9, Corey Moore finally got back to what I think he should have been doing all this season last week at Talladega with a podium. Tonight he'll start, though, from 17th. He's got some work to do. Alongside him, it's Jose Medina. Then on row 10, Kenny Reel did not get the finish last week that he wanted, but has continued to build speed on that precision-branded entry. And alongside him, again, the resurging Johnny Shade in 20.
Moonshiners will start down in 21st tonight, just 5/10 off the pole. Jim Treat is next to him. They'll try and charge their way up from row 11. Trevor Astronoff will start from the pit lane this evening to not make the green procedure, which was set to start 23rd alongside Nick Kane, who's got an EOL. Kyle Holden starts 25th tonight. Matt Metler down in 26 looks for some luck. Greg Carr and Darren Mills, the other EOL given before tonight, will start 28th originally for quality. Tim Harper, Aaron Matthews, Nigel Christensen, Barry Sanders, Matt Mack, and all did not put up times. We had one suspension, Ryan Catalano. Everyone else getting themselves ready to go. Your quick thoughts for tonight as we get ready for what should be an interesting one from Texas.
Yeah, I think the key really to tonight is going to be the guys that know what they have early. And my mind takes me back to our last cookie cutter mile and a half in Kansas, where Nico Garcia knew early on in that race what he had underneath his car. He had a good short to medium run car. He knew that. He was able to survive the long runs, but capitalize when it mattered in the short to medium. Tonight, it's going to be crucial as well as we look at these stages, especially as we get towards that long stage 3. The guys with the long run cars could benefit as we thought they would at Kansas, but one caution late can change everything. It's going to be the guy that knows what he has under the hood immediately off the jump, I think, that's at the biggest advantage tonight. Oh, by the way, the guy that's able to manage his equipment the best is going to be in a good spot as well.
Absolutely, especially for that third stage, 110 laps. Going to be at least a one-stopper on gas. In real life, drivers went around up to 57 to 59 laps here at Texas. Take a look at some of your Van Louis Stickers cameras, a few different viewpoints here tonight. Some have some interesting choices on the green screen because they're phasing through. Others are looking to just stay focused in their seats tonight. See if they can power their way up to the very front. And keep in mind, a lot of these drivers are going to have to hope that they don't get involved in early troubles that were known to be the case in the early years at Texas. And our EOL was added to the list, by the way, during that discussion. Timothy Harper will also start at the tail for tonight. Who do you think gets the job done tonight, Dawson?
I'll tell you, it's tough to pick against the defending champ, Alex Coffey, from the pole at one of these mile and a halves. And after the run of bad luck he's had, I think it's about time for him to get back into form and get back into victory lane. If I had to pick away from him, I'm going to say Alex Murray in 5th, the guy who's been fast in the mile and a halves as well, a winner at Las Vegas back in March. A very similar track tonight in terms of being a cookie cutter, a high-speed mile and a half. Looking at the Shamrock Camry as well.
Happy to have you with us for tonight's coverage of Moonshiners Racing League as we'll come up to the Van Louis Sticker start zone. 45 laps for your opening stage. That stage brought to you by Collegiate Football Simulation League, the top collegiate simulation league. More information, go to collegesimleague.com. We're underway from Texas. For the lead, here goes Garcia. Trying the outside in his Chevy. Going with the green look this evening. It's Coffey to lead the first lap of the day, but it's Garcia who's got the momentum to make the pass for the point.
And why should we be surprised that the 8 car has a good short to medium run car? This is how that car was set up at Kansas as well. It got him to victory lane, his first career victory in this series, and it gets him in the lead early on lap 2. Meanwhile, for the back to battle was for 3rd. That was Donaldson to the outside of Matt Cox. Donaldson makes it work. William Owens, by the way, up a spot already. He challenges Cox for the 4th spot now. A couple cars on the move. Donaldson, Garcia, Owens all appear to be running a bit of a short run strategy tonight. They are putting some hurt on those tires, though. Look at Owens on the outside. That is going to be the most hurt on the tires if you run out of that bottom racing groove. Owens to the outside of Cox for 4th. Here's to be headed for the short run as you see Timothy Harper go 1 lap down.
Yes, that's in part because he was one of those who reached the 9 penalty point threshold, which means you got to pass through to start off the race. One other driver was set to get that tonight. They did not appear here at the facility. Chris Cornett, let's take a look at him for a brief moment. See, one of the drivers trying on the higher line, per se, to enter. So critical when it comes to the line, as I think Timothy Harper may have picked up a speeding penalty while serving his drive-through. Race lead is switching as well at the same time because Coffey's got it again.
Alex Coffey to the inside, challenges Garcia. Garcia hangs on the right rear quarter panel of Coffey. They'll drag race here down the front straightaway. And I wonder if Coffey hit the go button here because Braden Donaldson has closed on this battle for the lead. After getting by Matt Cox for third, he now challenges the two leaders. Coffey on the inside. Garcia utilizes the side draft there off of 2. He's going to maintain the lead. But here comes the rookie Donaldson into this fight right in front of Matt Cox. He wants a piece of this as well. By the way, a number of drivers up several spots already. Mackin up 9 towards the tail end of the field. He is rolling on rails so far.
Question will be, will we have the long run? We've seen some ups and downs from Mackin in his starts. Donaldson looking for second in front of Coffey. Takes it away easily as Harper is in a hole, by the way. This is 2 laps down now for the 23. All self-inflicted with the penalty points from the previous race. And now the speeding penalty. So in the case if you're the 23, what do you do at this point? Because you're in the heart of the field in the midst of some of these leaders. You see Fetterpoise has a good view of him up the road.
You have to hope there's some early caution, some early carnage before that stage break. Meanwhile, up front, change for the lead. Donaldson on the outside of Garcia. He charges from 4th to the point. A little bit of contact between those two cars down the back straightaway. Donaldson cuts off the draft, tries to throw dirty air, and drives away with the lead. How about the power moves early from the bright yellow 67 off turn 4 for Dig eSports. He'll drive away from Garcia by 2 car lengths. If you're the 23, back to Timothy Harper, you gotta hope there's some carnage, because if there's not, 2 laps is tough to get back. You gotta hope you're the lucky dog in both of our 2 stage breaks tonight, and that would be a tough feat to accomplish if you're the Harper machine without some other chaos happening. Almost a change for the 4th spot, by the way. Owens challenged Cox. Cox disposed of him quickly there over in turns 1 and 2, and now will attack Alex Coffey for 3rd.
You see some of the big movers, by the way, still shaking around. Christensen, the biggest to move forward so far. Not even 10 laps of the race so far. The 20, they able to pick up a fair bit of distance. 21st, though, is where they run. So Christensen, you have a very, very big advantage. Keep on going. William Owens nearly spun the car out off of 2 just up the road from Corey Moore and company, though. I was about to say, for some of these drivers, it's can they try and build momentum on the mile and a halves. The mile and a half is so critical if you want to win a championship. After all, Homestead Miami is, of course, this year's title fight circuit. You've got to compete on these mile and a halves and do so well, long run especially.
Well, I think you're seeing that out of some guys that were in the postseason last year in 2025 that did not get the start to 2026 that they wanted, whether because we went to so many drafting tracks or road courses, and now we're kind of into that middle stretch of the season where you'll see a lot of the cookie cutters, or if it's just because of bad luck, because they did not have the moments of luck that they needed to get the finishes. Corey Moore is the guy I talked about at the top of the show. As Sean Rogers looks for a spot there on Blaine Wilson, that would be for the 8th position. There's some guys I talked about at the top of the show, and Corey Moore was one of them. Corey Moore was in the round of 8 last year. Almost made a trip to the Final Four in Phoenix, and this year just did not get the start to the year that he anticipated that he would get. Last week at Talladega, I feel like it was a turning point for him, one that the doctor ordered. He's on that boat. Nigel Christensen's on that boat. Johnny Shade's on that boat, another playoff guy from a year ago. A couple of others come to mind as well. Heck, Blaine Wilson even you could throw into that category as well, of guys that did not get the start to the year that they wanted, that are now finding speed on the mile and a halves, on these cookie cutters, that's carrying them back in to the title fight. Some guys are continuing that speed. I think of William Owens. I think of Chris Vinson, guys that got good starts that have kept them going throughout the beginning and middle parts of this season.
By the way, you're not seeing things for those curious. Yes, that is Timothy Harper, who again had a 7-out penalty, I think, from the sim. He's now near 3 laps down in his pursuit to have the no good, very bad day, if you will. That's actually going to feed some dirty air possibly to the leaders. We have trouble for one driver down the front. It's Cornette.
Yeah, Cornette had a moment there off of turn 4, took a trip through the infield grass, did some landscaping there off turn number 4, comes back up on track. Does not appear there's much damage, but now a bit of a hornet's nest there with the Mackin and a couple of other cars. You'll see the replay here off turn 4, and I thought there might have been contact with Davis. There was not. Just a little bit of dirty air thrown across the spoiler, and I can't imagine the grounds crew is going to be too happy with the driver of the Walmart chip.
Yes, indeed. Again, our replay is brought to you by Top It Off Hot Sauce Company. Receive 50% off your entire order at topitoffsauce.com. Use the code MRL15. Keeping an eye on some of the drivers as we go about here. You're looking at one of those that has a different look tonight. The American theme machine of Kyle Holden. Usually was up at the front last season when it came to his pace on the 1.5 miles. He'll have a caution flag to think about things though. We're under yellow. Car on the grass in the front straightaway. Jim Treat.
Yeah, an unfortunate start to 2026 for Jim Treat continues. This was in a similar spot, by the way, as the Cornet incident just a moment ago. We get the Top It Off Hot Sauce Company replays. They worked off turn 4. This was right around the 17th position on the racetrack where Nigel Christensen continued his run forward to the front. And it's the same thing as Chris Cornet. The dirty air across the spoiler, perhaps. Treat goes down to the grass. No damage on that car. But he does do some lawn mowing there on the infield of the front straightaway.
That puts us under our first caution of the night. And it only comes about 15 laps to the action. So now here comes the question. What do you do on strategy? Because we already know they can make it on fuel. Do you burn the set of tires here to try and get fast for the end of the run? We have only 5 sets in the pits tonight. Or do you try and stay out on the racetrack and save that set for, say, stage 2 or 3?
Tell you what I would do as a driver, I'd be saving a set here, especially if I was up front and conserving there, which I know Braden Donaldson, of course, drives right to the lead. Nico Garcia appears to have a good short run car, did not appear to be saving a ton there. A couple guys towards the tail may come burn a set that were up a few positions. I'm looking at guys like Christensen, guys like Greg Carr that are up 8 or more positions to come down and maybe take a set of tires because they burned a lot right there. If I'm towards the front and I was conserving it all, Coffey, Cox, Murray, Wilson, Rogers, any of those guys, I'm saving the set here. To me, 15 laps in, that's just too early.
And it looks like vast majority of the field indeed will save the set as you predicted. No one's really peeling on down. A couple drivers do hit the commitment box, actually trying to fake themselves out. Lucky dog, no surprise, Timothy Harper will move back to 1 lap down. He needs at least to stay on the lead on terms of his lap, rather, to have the chance back on the lead lap by the end of stage 1 to start stage 2. But Donaldson's been looking fast, to say the very least. Again, one of the drivers that's joined in late on the series. Donaldson, at the very least, is starting to rack up the points. He's already picked up on the season enough to get into 36th. That's run off just in front of him for reference, but in terms of some of the starts he's done in this campaign, top 10s both times out so far in this series, it's looked solid for your current race leader. Can he do it again tonight? He's averaged a top 10 on pace all season so far that he's appeared in.
Well, yeah, and I think even more impressively as he did it last week at Talladega, a race with so much carnage in it. So to come out, and do it at Kansas, to have raw speed, that's one thing, and obviously you got to keep that going. It does appear as if that 67, by the way, is trimmed out really nicely here in race conditions. But to do it in Talladega, to do it back-to-back weeks to start your career, that's a big-time momentum booster for a driver and can contribute to an early run like he's had tonight. 17 laps in, drove from 4th to the lead, immediately started to drive away a little bit from Garcia and the rest of the field. How much of his equipment did he use is the question we'll answer here on this restart. But impressive to get back-to-back top 10s. Tonight, though, that car, at least in the short run, looked awfully good to perhaps contend for his first win in this series. That'd be a huge, huge moment for Braden Donaldson.
Again, one of the drivers who were added to the dig cam in terms of their season. As we come up to the 1 to go mark, or right past that mark, in fact. Donaldson will start alongside Garcia. Kansas was where Garcia really showed his speed, but Coffey and Cox, 2 of the veterans in this series, right behind to take advantage the second anything slows up here. And right now, we already know how important clean air is at Texas. We've already seen, though, nobody's willing to majorly go side by side in 1 and 2 with just how the forces go in that corner.
No, not at all. We saw a couple of guys willing to do it. Nico Garcia, Braden Donaldson, to name a couple that were willing to at least try to work that outside lane and actually got it to work to some success. But with Texas primarily being a 1-lane racetrack, eventually you would think the field would have to search around to get some grip, to get some clean air, and you'll have to move up a little bit on that end of the racetrack. It's bottom feeding so far. Again, very similar to what we saw at Kansas a couple of weeks ago. The guys that moved up just a little earliest, including Garcia, were able to capitalize the most as we get ready for the Van Lille Stickers restart zone.
Here we go, getting all set to start things back up. Coming up to start lap 19. Donaldson on the jump. A little bit of tire spin. All it on. That was a slide up to the top. Is that going to be a penalty right in front of Garcia?
That was very close, to say the least. We'll see what race control thinks here on the opening lap. So far, so good. All clear for Braden Donaldson at the moment as he pulls away by about a car length and a half from Garcia. Tries to break the draft down the backstretch. Back to turn 3. Garcia right in the tire tracks. Coffee about 3 car lengths back of them. Alex Murray capitalized nicely on that restart, by the way. Got all the way to 4th as guys start to try to pick off spots. And I thought coming into tonight that this would be the way you'd make passes. I said turns 1 and 2. I also figured it would be on the starts and restarts. And so far, that is proven to be right. Sean Rogers was on the move there for a moment. William Owens trying to be on the move. So too is Blaine Wilson. A few cars trying to make moves on the early few laps to set themselves up for the end of this run.
It's been pretty solid, though, you have to say, for the 30 machine. This is similar to what we've seen a couple times now in the past few weeks. Owens has showed good speed in stage 1. The top thing has been so far for the 30, getting sustained speed to stay out of trouble. And right now, Owens does not want to fall back into the traffic and risk any more trouble.
Well, you never want to fall into traffic at a, again, 1 to 1.5 lane racetrack like Texas where you really can't go anywhere once the field single files out. Owens, you see how deep he's driving that car to turn 3. He flies past Matt Cox, who lifts early for that corner. Rogers going to try to follow through. Here comes the 44 to the outside of his teammate Matt Cox. They will battle side by side. That's for the 6th position. Rogers noses ahead. He'll clear for the spot into 1. You can see the different strategies there. Owens, Rogers on the move. Cox says, you guys can go ahead. I'm going to save these Goodyears for later on in the run. Corey Moore was 3 lanes up the racetrack there in turn 1. The 19, hyper aggressive, trying to go forward. He's all the way up to Brandon Bowie already.
Just like that, some of the drivers really showing some speed. Look at Bowie going to the bottom on the 3 wide. Cox trying to back out of it. Lets the 51 go as Bowie is now trying to push. I was about to say, as Wilson gets the run back here, Bowie had a bit of a slower start in the pack. Do you think that was part of the plan? Now that we've built up a little bit of time on the tires, is Bowie going to start pushing, or is he going to just try and save and make sure those tires last until the 45 mark for fast pace?
Well, this is his luxury as the points leader, right, as he gets to make that decision to back out now. He does not have to go get a ton of stage points. He's got a points lead coming into tonight. With that being said, does seem as if he's on the back Cox strategy, backing out, saving a little bit where he can. Now, he gained a couple spots right there in that mess for the 10th position. He ends up 8th out of that exchange, but he's got guys behind him that are coming forward. Corey Moore, most notably of them, again, running a very aggressive high lane over in turns 1 and 2, trying to make it happen. Bowie on the move to the inside of Wilson. This is for 7th. They'll try to bring Corey Moore with him, but Moore under attack now from Brandon Fetterplace, who comes forward from 15th to 10th so far for the 34. A number of cars on the move as Cox's backslide continues down 10 for the man who started 3rd.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that machine, but all of a sudden, Cox has gone into heavy conserve mode indeed. Some of the drivers up the road look like this, though. The top 4 broken away with Murray as its caboose. And you mentioned the speed for Alex Murray so far, 2nd of the points after all. 2 wins this season here in the MRL. Right now, not really pushing the issue on Coffey. Again, Coffey yet to get a win this season, remember. And every race has had a bit of a disaster strike. Some of their teammates still battling as you see Wilson alongside again.
And Wilson and Bowie have been at this for about 5 laps now between the two of them. Fetterplace has actually worked into this battle as those two went side by side. Wilson for now will win the battle, but Bowie wants to win the war. To the outside he goes. Wilson works a lane up the racetrack, which forces Bowie all the way to the middle lane almost, the middle of that turns 1 and 2. Big slide for Wilson off 2. Bowie clears around him. Fetterplace going to cross over and get a spot. Meanwhile, up front, this is for 2nd. Coffey went to the outside a couple of laps ago. It didn't work. To the inside now. No dice for him there either. He cannot get around the 8 of Garcia, the green, white, and yellow number 8 off the nose of that 54 machine. Meanwhile, Alex Murray closes on these two as they go to battle with one another. Owens settles into 5th. Rogers settles into 6th. And it's Bowie chasing all of them from 7th.
All of them trying to march forward and sort themselves out as Wilson's tires start to go off. Oh, wow. You know who's once the drivers noticing starting to make some slice and dice moves yet again? Kyle Holden, we expect to be towards the front. That 97 is right behind the 32 and the 99. You see on these shots here as they zip through. Holden showing a bit more pace. He's so far tonight after starting towards the back. Plus 10 in the 97. Looking to attack yet again. You see him trying to get the inside working.
Yeah, no surprises. As the race gets longer, I feel like Kyle Holden, he learns a lot during the race. He kind of studies, keeps a mental notebook, and figures out what works before other drivers can and takes advantage. And that's what he's been doing tonight. Again, up 10 spots from where he started, about to be 11, as he passes the continuing to backslide 32 of Matt Cox, who got passed by Kenny Reel a moment ago for the 13th spot. So Cox back to 14th. Now Holden by him for that spot. He'll be 15th perhaps off turn 2. Rather, he's going to throw a 3-wide move. How about Cox around the rail on turns 1 and 2? That's the highest we've seen anyone go tonight besides Corey Moore. Holden now attacks Reel. That would be for that 14th spot either way. Garcia fading a little bit off Donaldson. Coffee after him.
Oh, hold on.
But the man on the move is Bowie.
You know why Garcia's fading? He just plopped the wall. He just crushed the right front fender here, Dawson. Just destroyed the front end.
And that is not what you want to see in an aero-dependent track like Texas. On board with Garcia as he came off turn 4 chasing Donaldson. You wonder, does he get into the aero wash off the back of the 67? Boy, I'll tell you what, JP, that's sure what it looks like to me.
And you're topping up Hot Sauce Company replay there, and Garcia is in trouble. He is scraping wall after wall. That's going to take at least a good 30, 40, 50 seconds at minimum to try and fix. And he's got splitter damage from it. Disaster for the 8 machine. Going to put them in the back foot for the rest of the race. Vincent, by the way, good shot at some of the battles as Cox now tries to get calm again. Reel underneath Vincent, mind you. One of the Beast Mode performance machines scrapes the wall there.
Kenny Reel, a bit of a drive forward in the 99. One of the red line drivers up 5 from where he started at 14th, trying to get 13th from the Vincent car. The charging Holden and Nick King, by the way, it's another driver up 8 from where he started, are a part of this absolute hornet's nest back here. From Matt Cox on back from there, it is a complete and total mess, but a number of drivers have gotten into this mess trying to come forward. Corey Moore up 5, Vincent up 3, Reel up 5, Holden up 10, King up 8, Barry Sanders up 15, the boss man 32nd to 17th early in this race as he works into this mess as well. Here in turn 1, great view of the lines being scattered across this racetrack. That's Cox, a lane off the wall in turns 1 and 2.
Some of these drivers definitely flirting with different lines. Top, very, very top of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Not normally the line to be, but see that play out for a couple drivers, and we got a wreck off the corner. It's Owens in the wall. There goes the 30. There goes the pack. Kane into him. Cornette's in it, and we're under yellow.
They're still crashing. Cars still coming to a stop on the entrance of turn 1, and a couple of more are up against the wall on the entrance to the corner, even further up from the Owens machine where this one got finished. Owens was inside the top 7 when this happened, right in front of Feder Place and Rogers. And it's the same thing we saw with both Cornette and Vincent a little while ago. This time there's cars around Owens. He gets turned. Cox is in this. Vincent's in this. Cornette is in this. Corey Moore is in it as well in the 19. Greg Carr slides in. Some big hitting cars, some fast race cars involved in this incident.
Now what happened to Moore in all this? You see him in the Martin Truex Junior paint scheme once again. Seems okay. Oh, he got loose, and that followed him up the racetrack. And William Owens saying it's not your fault to believe to Shawn Rogers. You see just how loose the 30 got, and then nowhere for the 32 to be.
A stuck brake for Matt Cox, who had just found his long run speed, too. Doesn't look like a lot of damage to that car, but certainly going to have to be addressed by his pit crew. You're on board now with Chris Vincent, and watch how quickly, number one, how quickly this unfolds. Number two, how quickly this track gets completely blocked. And there's no room for really anybody to go. Vincent coming into it, does some more landscaping, and I'm sure he'd rather that ending than plowing into one of the race cars coming across the racetrack.
Look at your replay here as we're under 10 to go in the stage, and because of this caution, we do have a few drivers, very much so for repairs in many of these cases, coming down pit road. A couple are scheduled, Gallimore, Metler, a few others trying something different, but Timothy Harper just avoided contact with Matthews, got the lucky dog, and is back on the lead lap as some of the others peel down. Fenner placed your highest out of anyone who pit here. Is this an interesting call here, possibly? Remember, I think he was amongst those who stayed a bit out of trouble there, but now, check that. He's amongst those with the crumpled up right front in that situation. Why don't we take a break? When we come back, more coverage under 10 to go in stage one. Watch the MRL on Precision. Welcome back to tonight's coverage from Texas Motor Speedway for the PayRVA 300. The MRL just about getting ready to restart what will be about 7-lap run to the end of stage one. Justin Prince Johnson Wise with you. Getting all set with Donaldson in front, Coffey, Murray, Bowie, now your top four. Drivers who have pit, 17th on back. We have at least 3 drivers with significant damage. Cornett, Mills, Owens. Owens is already out. Should be interesting for the Van Louis Stickers restart zone here, Dawson, as we're just about ready to go.
Yeah, 7 to go in stage one. A number of drivers coming to pit road to address their race cars is shaking up the battle for the stage points. Green flag back in the air. Donaldson off to the races by a car length over Coffey. That's going to create a battle for second. Murray to the inside, Coffey to the outside. Behind them, Bowie gets into the top 5 because of that. Chris Davis does as well, up to 5th for the 87, although Bowie will get the spot off of 2. Rogers watches in the popcorn seat for the battles in front of him as he singles out to 6th. And back at 3, Donaldson watches it all happen in his mirror as the chaos begins behind him for the points. Look at how high up Kyle Holden is further back.
Here the drivers really trying to flirt with the high line to get some clean air on the nose. All while Coffey tries to run away with second. Bowie way up on the high side. Murray has the chance to get the roll, but Bowie's got the chance to try and get the clearance. Murray slides up. Bowie zips by. And there goes the points leader up to 3rd, just like that. Well, by the way, cut off for the stage points, currently controlled by Blaine Wilson. Here is Bowie going for second.
Brandon Bowie's found something underneath that 51 machine. Crosses over to the outside, tries to get to the right rear of Coffee. Coffee slams the door shut in his face. Bowie swings it out wide again. He did this last time around. He really swings that car wide, kind of throws the back end out towards that higher line and makes it stick. Big run down the backstretch because of it. Will he dive to the inside of Coffee? Yes, he will. For second in turn 3. Bowie on the inside. Coffee plays defensive. Jay's on the outside, but Bowie keeps his foot in it. He'll drive across the nose of Coffee. Does he make it stick? He does. Points leader to second. Crossover. Coffee back to the inside. Back to turn 1. 4 to go in stage 1, and the battle's not for the stage win. Donaldson says, boy, I'm glad that's happening behind me.
Such with 4 to go, absolutely. Oh, a big slider put in front of Bowie. Coffee parked the bus, and heavy contact for a moment. Coffee secures second. Does Bowie have a chance to respond back, though? That's how dicey it got. All this as well as to come to this front straightaway here. Top 3 or 4 starting to break away a little bit again. Holden's up to 5th, by the way, as Bowie goes way up high. Murray slides up for 3rd.
Brandon Bowie saw something that Matt Cox was doing and wanted a piece of that for himself. Bowie to the inside. Murray tried to throw the block all the way to the white line. Didn't work. Bowie to the inside for 3rd. We carry a ton of speed down in the corner. Now he'll have to throw the slide job on Murray. He gets a little bit loose right for the 22. Another wiggle for the 51. That's going to basically allow the 54-67 to drive away and create a mess from 3rd on back. Murray on the inside. Holden through the center. Almost tried to make it 3 wide. Gets caught in the dirty air. So too does Davis. Kenny reels in this battle as well. The 99 works into this 5-way battle for 3rd. Make it 6 with Rogers.
How will this go? Coming up to 1 to go in the stage already. Murray still runs the inside of the head of the group. Drivers like Rogers trying to find a way to settle in with Christensen sliding himself up. 1 to go in stage 1. It's secure for Donaldson. It's secure for Coffee. It's not secure behind that trouble.
Davis gets turned. Chris Davis off the bumper of Kenny Reel. This should end the stage. Cars come flying in. We're going to keep it green, but it was Reel into the back of Davis.
Davis, I think, trying to move to the bottom, but right now, everyone else staying green. Donaldson up front, Coffee in second. Murray, Holden, Bowie, all your top 5. Green, white, checkered. It's Donaldson who wins stage 1. As mentioned, Coffee, Murray, Holden, Bowie in the top 5. Reel, Christensen, Vincent, Rogers. And would you believe who is in 10th, by the way? Timothy Harper finished the stage in 10th.
I remember last week that Jerry Miller was talking a little bit about Timothy Harper and how it felt like a Timothy Harper kind of day. And after the resurgence here in stage 1, could that be the case tonight in Texas for the 23? A big comeback for him. Here's the contact, by the way. Reel into the back of Davis. Davis, I think you're right, was coming down to try to enter the corner. Kenny Reel doesn't quite get on the brakes in time as Davis slides down across his nose. And the 87 into the outside wall.
But the Christensen, see what the angle, he'll have a good viewpoint of this. It's for the bumper view, or really for the roof cam. Yep, right there with the contact of the fender as Davis locks it up, puts himself into the wall, didn't get the caution trigger, nearly got clapped by a couple different cars up there. That could have been disaster for some. Here is Harshield. What did the 38 see? Pretty certain it was duck, duck, dive. Well, didn't really have to do a duck or a dive. Just had to straightforward.
Yeah, honestly, just kept his foot in it a little bit and managed to get past. He was a little bit further back than some of the guys that initially got into that. There was one car that was up against the outside wall, basically, that got between the Davis car and the safer barrier. I'm not exactly sure who that car was, but there was somebody that nearly had some calamity there. That was almost really, really big for Chris Davis.
Could have been bad, but we continue on going here as we get ready for our pit stop sequence. Cornette looking to get the wave as this time through Donaldson, Coffee, and everyone else down to the cone and down for the stops. Except for one. Mark Sanchez just stayed out. Metler Garcia also just stayed out. Everybody else, expect 4 tires and fuel.
I was wondering if any of the guys that pit with 8 laps to go would skip out on pitting here. It basically flipped the stage, if you will, there with 8 laps to go. And no surprise to me, Garcia, as good as his car has been for the first 15, 20 laps of a run, why not give it a shot? A little bit shorter stage here in stage 2 because of the caution laps, so why not give it a shot? Race off pit road. How about it for Holden, who's going to gain a spot over Bowie? Real gains a spot on pit road. Let's move Holden to 3rd off pit road. He'll be back towards the back half of the top 10 when they line back up. Kenny Real got a couple of spots as well.
That'll set us back up for the restart. Mind you, we still have Cox, Davis, Bowen, Fetter Place, and a few others part of the heavy damage repair. But remember, we ran about 7-ish laps on the tires. This is a interesting play here for some of the drivers who burned the extra set here that are now saving the set back here. Garcia has to be one of those drivers we have to watch for because remember, he was up at the front before he crushed in that nose.
Well, the nose is repaired. It looks clean. And again, I'm just not surprised that the A car decides to stay out here, gain some track position, get into a position now where he could be the first car on new-ish tires, get about 8 laps on those Goodyears for him. So to get back to the lead here early on this restart, Garcia could put some distance between himself and Donaldson and be back in the catbird seat. That car was on par with the leaders before the damage on the right side, although they will have to negotiate Sanchez and Mettler before that on a little bit older tires than the rest of the field as well. So a couple of cars on the front row for the first time, and from there, the Hornets' nest will begin, especially, again, Holden, Bowie, a couple of others have gone way out towards the safety barrier in turn 1 and have started to really scatter this racetrack out.
Getting set to go for the restart here. Remember, we run up to lap 90 for stage number 2. This stage, remember, in this series, is brought to you by RS Button Boxes. We'll find out how this is going to play out for some of the drivers here. Of note, your biggest mover is Matt Mettler with his choice to stay out. It's a 24-spot position gain. As a result, for the 7, Broadcaster will look to try and set things up with the red line machine. On the outside, Mark Sanchez really trying to show his cowboy pride for first to engage. How will this play out for one of the drivers who has been quietly in the conversation for the top 16 points to start the postseason in the next few months? Here we go for the Van Louis Stickers restart zone, though. Freshies start in 4th. Green flag is out. The inside line goes. Mettler does not. Donaldson nearly spun out, trying to avoid the 7.
That's going to hold up a number of cars from Donaldson on back as they both fade to the inside, trying to get around the Mettler machine. Meanwhile, up front, quick change for the lead. Garcia to the outside of Sanchez. He knows the importance of clean air. Sanchez slides up, though. Garcia has to lift. That's going to bring some of these new tires into the picture as Garcia tries to clear here into 3 and drive away for dear life. Sanchez challenges back on the inside. Coffey, Donaldson, Holden are all coming up quick. Garcia has to make this happen or he'll get swallowed up the same way that Sanchez is about to. Garcia knows ahead of the line. They'll work back to turn 1. Garcia, big dive off the outside lane. Not enough. Sanchez continues to hold tough on the inside. Here comes Coffey from 3rd.
Right now, Coffey trying to get the run. He's already the leader on Freshies. Garcia, as expected, goes up to the front immediately. But how long can he keep it up there on the long run? Donaldson slips by Sanchez, despite scraping the wall. Now, what do you do if you're Coffey? Take this immediately? Do you save for a little bit? How big is the level of urgency to go after the gate?
Pierce is going to choose the latter option. Save for just a little bit, not be super urgent, although I would expect that his Dig eSports stablemate behind him, Donaldson, will be on the more aggressive side of things as he was early in stage 1. In fact, he's going to. Coffey saves on the bottom. Donaldson to the outside trying to find some clean air, but he'll be attacked now. Here comes the points leader. Bowie to the inside. Donaldson throws the block. Bowie tries to go back right. Donaldson blocks him again. Bowie to the inside. This time it's a move that Donaldson can't block other than his stablemate giving some dirty air. Donaldson may get 2 for 1. He's all the way around. Coffey for 2nd off 2.
Donaldson with the rip around as Coffey does not hold him back. Again, Donaldson's been so quick tonight. Look at Bowie, though. Remember the battles he had with Coffey a little moments ago? Looks like this time he's going to get it done as quick as he can with the run on the high side. Looking to push the tires. does get the clearance. So one of the Aero entries joins in on the fray. Bowie and Garcia, remember the same communications. Aero 2 is 1 and 3 on the track.
Really good cars in the short run period. I feel like Brandon Bowie got better even as the run went on in stage 1 for now. Early in stage 2, already good so far for the 51. He's up to 3rd position. Holden settles into 5th, by the way. Sanchez into 6th. And Matt Mettler's not fallen any further than 7th in the 7th, although now he is being passed by his red line teammate in Kenny Reel, who will take that spot from him over in turn 1. Vincent tries to attack him for the 8th spot. So drivers starting to get past Mettler and Sanchez as those tires really fade away about 20 laps underneath them in terms of life. Up front, change for the lead. Here comes Donaldson to the inside of Garcia. Garcia hangs tough for now, and all this is going to do with these two side by side is bring Brandon Bowie into the conversation. Donaldson wants to make this happen quickly. Obviously Garcia not willing to give it up. His teammate closes in. Three-way battle for the lead in 1. Here comes Bowie.
Bowie trying to find a way to close in. Donaldson looking to try and find a way to clear. A few laps into the stage already. Donaldson on the freshies has the run, nearly turned himself in front of the 8. Garcia hits the wall again. This time, though, has to give it up. And Donaldson up front with Bowie ready to storm after him. Hold on, Garcia is trying to win a last heave. He can try as much as he wants, but those tires are not in a great spot right now, especially with the 7 laps of green flag running distance. That's going to keep him up for grabs as he'll start to slide.
He hit the wall as well over off turn 4 last time around as Bowie works to the inside of Garcia. Not going to happen there in turns 3 and 4. He got some dirty air off of Donaldson. Big move, by the way, by Donaldson. Garcia went off in the corner higher than Donaldson thought he would. They almost made some contact a couple of times on that lap. This time Garcia swings wide. Holds a spot over Bowie. You're on board with Harper as he works forward, by the way. 29th to 12th as Harper works forward up front. Potential change for the lead. Garcia crosses over. Back to the inside of Donaldson comes the 8. 51 is faded by about 4 car lengths. Now they almost will make some contact. Man, they almost did right there off 4. Donaldson got the wall that time. They'll drag race back to 1.
Yet again, Donaldson still not done the clearance. Garcia's putting up a great fight. Don't know how this will go by 10 laps time, but the way things are looking, Garcia knows the importance of clean air, knows the importance to help out his tire wear. That's why he just sent it in. Donaldson trying the crossover. Here we got loose though. Trying to plant the bottom of the racetrack. Been impressive so far what we've seen from Garcia. This is almost feeling like a Garcia type of night with the way things are shaping all of a sudden. Because even with the damage from earlier, Garcia's been fast. Hold that thought. He and Donaldson nearly wreck it. And Bowie hits the wall.
This is dragging Alex Coffey and Kyle Holden back into this conversation as well. Coffey to the inside of Bowie. Remember, these two have a little bit of history this year from back at Darlington. Playing nice so far tonight in Texas, though. Another slide for Garcia. That car is all over the place on the exit of the corner. Donaldson right to his back bumper. Dives to the inside, trying to get the lead. Swinging wide is Brandon Bowie as Kyle Holden and Alex Coffey say, thank you very much. You're burning your stuff up, and we can come right in and take advantage. Side by side, Bowie, big run down the back. Donaldson throws it down on the white line. Bowie put 2 on the apron. He'll dive it into turn 3. He'll get 2 for 1 over here on this end of the racetrack. He'll get all the way to the lead. Can he clear his teammate? Not quite. Now it's 2 Aero cars battling for the lead. Garcia on the outside, Bowie on the inside as Donaldson's left to wonder what just happened.
I'm just wondering in all this, how is this going to end with the way things are looking? Right now, this is one of the more aggressive battles we've seen so far this season at this point of a stage. Garcia again holds on. Donaldson slow off the corner. Coffey back to 3rd. At this point, what's kind of going through your mind with how racy this is? Surprisingly, no one's running away here.
If I'm the guys in the catbird seat, that being Holden, Reel, Vincent on back, as these guys all race each other as hard as they are, I'm thinking that this is great news for me. If I'm from the 97 on back to the top 4, it shows the importance of what clean air means, and we talked about it multiple times. We'll talk about it again. To be out front, to be able to dictate where that guy in second's going to run is such a big advantage, and you see it right now. Garcia's tires 10 laps older than the guys behind him, and yet he continues to hold them off and battle back and be able to get back to the lead. That's how important it is to put that nose into the wind and get cleaner across the front end of your race car. But Bowie will attack again here in 1. Coffey and Donaldson have backed it off a little bit, whether by choice or otherwise. They have dropped about a couple of car lengths off the Bowie machine. Garcia now scoots away 4, 5, 6 car lengths into 3. All of a sudden, it's a nice, comfortable lead, and things calm down.
Yeah, just interesting how that goes. Remember, we talked about what would be like in 10 laps. I don't think I expected Garcia myself to be the leader, but sometimes clean air is that important. Rogers, looking pretty steady, hasn't really picked up too much ground over all this battling. The highest he's been to about 6 to 9. Right now, what do you do if you're Rogers here to join the fray up front? Because he and Vincent are the 2 highest BMP cars left up front.
It's a waiting game for these guys back here. You can search around, maybe find some things for the late run, which I think you just saw him do right there in turns 3 and 4, and it pays dividends. He'll get to the inside of his teammate Vincent here in a BMP battle in turn 1. So I think it's both a waiting game and a searching game. Find some grip, try some things for later in the race, especially that extended stage 3 that you can use later on. I think that's what you're seeing Rogers do right now. By the way, he's up to 7th, almost his highest running position. Back into the top 10, Timothy Harper. 2 laps down, 2 penalties, had a penalty to start the race, had to come to pit road a couple of different times, and is charged all the way from 2 laps down, nearly 3, by the way, to the lead lap and the top 10. Harper got stage points in stage 1, and now tries to work into the better parts of the top 10.
All they're just trying to march themselves around the circuit, if you will. Still plenty of laps to work with in the stage as we go for some of the drivers. So at this point, what do you think you do in terms of the setup difference? Because we're already approaching the late afternoon. Instant time's already almost 5 o'clock. Racetrack itself on the progression has stayed relatively hot. Is there anything you would adjust track-wise to keep up with this changing circuit?
Really, from what I've seen so far, at least from a number of the cars, big hit to the wall there for Vincent, by the way, off to right in front of Timothy Harper, we were just talking about. Battle for second as Coffey looked underneath Bowie for a moment. In terms of adjustments, a lot of guys are building loose. It feels like on the late run. You see Coffey have a bit of a moment right there in the 54. A number of the leaders appear to be building loose as the run goes on. You might tighten the car up, but you would trade off that car would be a plow box in dirty air. What I mean by that thing would go out towards the outside wall the second that you got right in behind another car and got dirty air across your nose. So it's a trade-off where you're building loose and you want the car to be a little more snug. At the same time, on a one-lane racetrack, do you risk the dirty air effects that come from that, from being a little bit tighter inside the cockpit of the race car?
Right now, we're seeing how much some of the drivers are really thinking. What can they do? Take Sanders, for example. Different look for him tonight on the race car. He's been stuck outside the top 10 all night. The boss man, who's trying to phase through the green screen still, just hasn't been able to get anywhere past this point. Just can't seem to get any runs built up.
That's what comes with, again, a 1 to 1.5 lane racetrack for the most part. We've seen some cars be able to move around as Sanders taps the wall there off turn 4. We've seen a couple cars be able to move around and work higher up the racetrack, but not many of them can make it work consistently and be able to work the outside lane. So unfortunately for Sanders, it's just a waiting game, the same way it is for Sean Rogers, who we've seen trying a couple things on this run. While right behind them, Feder placed pit on the caution a little while ago with 8 to go in stage 1 to get some damage repaired. The recovery continues for him as he is about to re-enter the top 15.
He's bounced back absolutely for him, but he needs to try and find a way to get more. Looking up front again. Still nothing doing on Garcia, who settled in to be a 10th quicker than everybody in the field. Coffey, I think, tried the higher line for the momentum's sake at the point of this run. But right now, some of the others just sticking out the bottom of the circuit. It's wild to think. I couldn't believe it until I remember you stated it. It's a decade since we've seen the previous configuration in Texas. It feels like it's much more recent with the way things have raced around here. As Coffey goes for second with Bowie up into the wall, this entire dynamic of the circuit has completely changed as a result compared to a decade ago where it was challenging, but right now we're adoring. Hold that thought.
And again, these two have some prior history back from Darlington back in the month of March. Though now they'll play nice again over in turns 1 and 2, but a moment there for both of those drivers. Coffee gets the spot, throws it across the nose. Bowie, big crossover there off 2. He's done that a couple of times tonight. He'll get back to the inside of Coffee and recapture that spot in turns 3 and 4. Or will he? Coffee works up the banking, trying to get the run, can't do it. Bowie slams the door. Coffee will cross over, and they'll continue this game of musical chairs of who wants second a little bit more. 54 to the inside, 51 on the outside. Donaldson is having a snack out of 4th position, watching this unfold in front of him as he saves a little bit of Goodyears. These two continue to battle as Garcia continues to scoot away. He says thank you very much. His lead, 7/10 down the backstretch.
Yeah, this expanding again. Speaking of which, some of the drivers going side by side for second. See Rogers trying to back off a little bit. Bowie high, clears his way up a spot. Back to second he goes. So it's a team 1-2 for Aero as we go. Donaldson trying to search around for clean air, still in the higher line. Less than 15 to go in stage 2, brought to you by RS Bunnet Boxes. Who's really impressed you the most in what we've seen so far? Especially since when you think about it, there are 3 drivers in the top 10 and 4 drivers in the top 11, up at least a grand total of 13 spots.
Yeah, we could talk about the front runners all night. Garcia, Bowie, Coffee, Donaldson, Holden even. And we talked about Timothy Harper. He's certainly in that conversation as well. You know, as a guy that is on a recovery trail. He's up to 7th, by the way, plus 22 from where he started. Oh, by the way, plus the penalties. Oh, by the way, he was 2 laps down, and he's up to the 7th position and continuing to charge. To me, the most impressive, though, in terms of just recovering back from where he started, but also maintaining what he's gotten after a bit of a pit call earlier. Kenny Reel for Redline. We knew that team could do it on the super speedways, but we've seen them steadily get better on these mile-and-a-halfs. Kenny Reel runs 6th right now on the racetrack. 19th is where he started. P6 is where he has ended up. And that's not because of a tire call. That's because he's gone and passed some race cars, and he continues to maintain a top 10 running spot right now in the blue and white 99.
Definitely impressive as we see pit stop Chris Davis moving out of the way. Bowie again scrapes the wall, and we're still not done for second. Coffee again with the boost. Again, getting side by side. Oh, Donaldson nearly ran over Bowie on so much of a lift into 1. Now they're both loose.
Everybody's loose at the front of the field right now. It's just what I was saying earlier. A lot of these guys are building loose. They're right on the razor's edge of what is controllable, what's not. Coffee, look at this. Aero blocking here in turn 3 as he moves up into Bowie's lane and adjusts a little bit there in turn 3 and is able to hold the 51 behind him there for the first time really in this entire battle. These two are not swapping that position anymore. He'll continue to run a little bit higher. Now drops down, trying to throw some bad air across the 51's nose. That gives Braden Donaldson all the clean air in the world. He is going to have a mammoth run here down the back straightaway. Does he have enough to turn left on Bowie? He does. Donaldson for 3rd to the inside of Bowie. Deep drive. He'll try to throw the slide job. These two went at it earlier.
Caution.
Can he get across his nose? The caution's out.
It's at the back of the field. Matt Mackin and Wayne Bowen involved. It's the 2nd start of the season for Bowen. I think the 78 going to get potential cause because, or released, cause for the caution part. It's not his fault of the incident that sparked it, though. It's Jim Treat.
Jim Treat gets into the corner a little bit deeper than Wayne Bowen did, and Bowen goes for a bit of a slide and nowhere really for Mackin to go. So he gets into this as well, and then insult to injury, he gets the safer barrier as well. You're on board with him as this is going to start way up in front of him there. You'll see the Bowen machine slide sideways, and to me, I wonder if he thought Bowen was going to stay high. Bowen goes down to the white line. A tough break there for both cars.
Huge slam, and it causes significant contact. And as a result, just our 2nd caution for cause of the night, both involving the 6, however. It's not been a fun night for Jim Treat. What do you do mindset-wise when you already have not 1, but now 2 incidents you have at least been a piece of?
You have to shake it. It's easy to let these kinds of things become a mental block as a driver, especially on a night where it's just not going your way. you have to shake it and reset and realize we still have over half this race to go. 120 laps to go here tonight. A long ways for things to get going in the right direction for Jim Treat. So you've got to look down, realize you're only on lap 81, and reset and go back forward and try to get mentally back locked into where you need to be as a driver. That's what Jim Treat's going to try to do. By the way, split strategy on pit road. Donaldson, Murray amongst those on the pit lane, taking a set of Goodyears here. So an interesting tire decision as they will flip stage 2 on lap 82.
Keep in mind, we still have less than 10 laps to go in the stage, so an interesting play, but someone had to try it. And really, that's thought of because Garcia's making it work up front, so why not see if it works now?
I completely agree. It worked really well for Nico Garcia following stage 1. He was able to get and now keep the lead, and I think that may have influenced the decision from Donaldson and Murray to come to pit road and take tires. They've watched Garcia not only get the lead on the pit strategy when it flipped over at the end of the stage, but maintain the lead, and I think that's the big thing, is he was able to drive into clean air and, by the way, drive away from the battle for second between Coffey, Bowie, and others. So for Donaldson and Murray to say, whatever you can do, I can do better, and they're going to try to do it for stage 3.
So on that note, it's time to get a chance to look at one of your driver profiles. We've talked about your off-axis paint driver profiles of both parts of the season. Tonight, that is Chris Cornett. Cornett, one of the Georgia-based drivers from Rome, specifically 33 years old. He's a rookie in the MRL this season. Still yet to make it a victory lane, and is influenced by his favorite driver, Alex Bowman. But he also has experience racing and go-karts. A lot of people race on the go-kart side these days. He did so in 2007. Cornett, right now, having a bit of a rough day, but at the very least, get one of those who is a part of that growing real-world set of those who are getting to the karting scene.
Yeah, and obviously really cool to see that as well with the karting background, to bring that over to the sim, to have that experience under your belt. So valuable for Cornett as he continues to try to make his run a little bit better, although a long ways to go, as I talked about with Treat a moment ago. With a Georgia-based driver, King going to try to channel Alex Bowman, who's gone to victory lane in a couple of these mile and a halfs in his career.
And with that in mind, see the cameras preparing for the restart. Vanleway Stickers cameras here tonight. Speaking of Vanleway Stickers, they sponsor the restart zone with Garcia up in front. Coming back from the repairs earlier, he leads. Coming up to what will be another 7-lap dash. Pace car already off. Green flag is out. No major tire spin, but the outside didn't really go either. Bowie all over the back of Garcia to start.
And Alex Coffey caught sleeping on that race start. Surprising to me as a guy who usually so good at the art of restarting a race. He'll drop all the way to third in a battle with Timothy Harper, who battles for a spot on the podium here down the back straightaway and into turn 3. The Shamrock Camry from a near race-ending group of penalties to inside the top 4 with just 7 to go in stage 2. Garcia away by a car length. Bowie challenges for the lead. Real got by Holden. That's for 5th, a little further back. But here comes the points leader. He swings wide to the outside of turn 1, a lane off the wall. Harper further back, challenged by Real, trying to get a run on Coffey as he looks to the inside of Bowie, battling everywhere. Big run for Bowie. Will he do anything about it in the 3?
Got the run this time to the inside. Garcia playing defense for the high side. Oh, that's up in the marbles, actually. Is that going to stick? It does, but it forces side by side fully. Inside for Bowie, outside for Garcia. Less than 5 to go on the stage, and Garcia has a flurry of marbles coming off his car.
But he makes it stick. He turns 1 and 2. The outside works for him, and he gets back by his teammate. It drags Coffey and Harper into this conversation, by the way, as these two go at it for the lead. Now Garcia to the inside. Bowie swings it wide over in this end of the racetrack. Not something we've seen him do a ton so far tonight. Meanwhile, the battle for third rages behind them. Coffey trying to hold off Harper, and continuing to charge forward Kenny Real, the 99, who's on offense here into turn 1. Bowie way out wide, almost in the penthouse there, almost on the Kyle Larson line against the outside wall. As behind them, here come the fresh tires. Donaldson with a huge run to the outside. He's all the way inside the top 5, back to 3.
All of them still trying to rush their way forward. Donaldson making the move on the way high side. Trouble in front. Bowie hit the wall. Bowie got loose and slammed the outside wall. Down to less than 3 to go. Bowie avoided damage, but definitely took a massive slide. Garcia's running away. 3 wide up in second. Harper now trying to go for third as Donaldson zipped by them both.
What a move by Braden Donaldson. He sails around the outside of both of those cars. He's not going to have time, I don't think, to get to the Garcia car, but it will be close. Battle continues for third. 2 to go in stage 2. Harper trying to get to the inside of his teammate Alex Coffey for the third spot. Kenny Reel says, I can do that too. Crosses over. Here's Reel to the inside for fourth as Donaldson looks for the lead in one. He did get there.
Donaldson finally completes the job up in front. Less than 2 laps to go. Donaldson goes Neum on the radio. He'll look to Troy to go Neum for one more lap. He's ran away from Garcia.
Yeah, really impressive try from Donaldson. I did not think there was a world where he got there in time, but he did. He's driving away. Nothing to worry about in the rearview mirror if he can hit his marks. Battle is on behind them. Harper trying to get third in a last ditch. Appears the top 5 at least are set off too.
So Donaldson tries to break the draft, does. Braden Donaldson. How about this drive? He's been successful all through the stages so far. Stage 2 winner, Braden Donaldson, takes the green-white checkered and does so by more than a second. Garcia, Coffey, Harper, Reel, Rogers, Fetter Place, Holden, Bowie, Oshield gets the top 10 markers. And just like that, Donaldson's led 46 laps tonight. He and Garcia are duking it out tonight.
The battle of short run cars, it seems. Donaldson and Garcia. Garcia led for most of that second stage, but Braden Donaldson, he burned some of that tire getting there, but he's got the clean air in the position now. And some more guys impress again. Reel, top 5 in the stage. Harper, 4th. Recovery continues for him. And Hochschild into the top 10. He gets a stage point as well as he works on an impressive run.
Yeah, I was about to say, where did he come from in this stage? But right now, we're about to see the flip of the stage with Matt Mackin being the highest out of those who actually took a set last caution. Murray, Metler, Sanchez, and Cox are part of those that are also part of that. Nick Kane also drove up a few spots. Trevor Swarnoff, Aaron Matthews also is on the potential call. Those drivers drove the way to the mid-pack while the others babied their tires. Let's find out pretty soon how this is going to go. Your lucky dog, this caution goes to Bowen. He was averaging runs in the 20s to teens in his previous start at Bristol, but can avoid getting into more incidents. The 78. So pit stop time is the big picture, though. Let's find out how these stops go, where so far no major issues for Donaldson and a few of the others in the pit box.
Braden Donaldson is going to come to pit road. I'm a little surprised. He did burn quite a bit of those Goodyears coming to pit road. Now we'll see what he does when he gets to his box in terms of a decision on how many tires to take. Would you burn a set after using them for only 8 laps? We'll have to wait and see on that. Every one of the leaders into their pit boxes. And what does Donaldson do? Does he go up on the jack? Yes, he does. So an 8-lap run on that set of tires for Donaldson. He'll take at least 2. He may take a full set of 4 here. That's a really interesting decision to me.
Corey Moore is the only person who took a top off, I believe, but he's laps down. Those who extended a set. So, Coffey in front of Garcia, Harper and Rogers, Holden, Fetter Place, Reel. Part of the sort out as we go. And by the way, Murray, Metler, Sanchez all stay out. Let's take a break. More coverage to the PayRVA 300 is after this. Getting ready to get back underway here. Tonight's coverage brought to you in part by Top It Off Hot Sauce Company. Receive 15% off your entire order at topitoffsauce.com using the code MRL15. Yes, that's the code MRL15. Save some money for some revved up flavor and heat. I'm Justin Prince alongside Dawson Wise, our producer Ryan Bauer once again pushing all the buttons as we get ready for stage 3. 106 laps to work with, one stopper on gas, and drivers like Murray look to hold on as we get ready to finish out this 300 lapper. We're underway for the Van Louis Stickers restart zone. Mettler again with the forward launch for the outside. Second time of this call that's happened, and just like that, the first 3 on the inside shoot ahead.
Yeah, but Donaldson going to rebound here quickly in turns 1 and 2. Into the outside of Timothy Harper here off turn 2, 3 wide. Mettler on the outside, Donaldson in the center. Harper on the inside, 3 wide for P4. Garcia trying to join the train coming forward. So is Kyle Holden. Donaldson the first to get by. Garcia slides out towards the outside wall goes the 8. Somehow he kept it off the safer barrier, but he'll lose a ton of track position here at the line.
And a little bit of shippiness on the radio, I believe, at that point. Garcia definitely shuffled back a fair bit from that. But now, as things continue to square away, some of the drivers like Sanchez slip on back again. Mettler going to actually get the chance to pass by Sanchez. That's how much the 27's backing off here.
Yeah, Mettler trying to hang on again. Hung on for a while after he did this back in stage number 1. In stage 2, he hung on for a little while inside the top 10 before he faded towards the end of the run. So for now, he'll settle in 4th. Meanwhile, up front, Coffey with a change for the lead over his teammate Alex Murray as he works by the 22. Donaldson right on his tail trying to get 2nd. Kyle Holden would be the next one on fresh tires. He's 5th right now. He'll go to work on Mettler. Murray seats the spot to Donaldson in 3. Donaldson to 2nd. Mettler trying to chase them. Meanwhile, further back, Harper on Sanchez off 4 is for the 6th position on the racetrack. Harper continues his charge back to the front after his troubles earlier. Garcia, meanwhile, by the way, back inside the top 10. He just got back around Sean Rogers.
Everyone trying to figure out a way to get to a good spot here. Holden attacking Mettler for good measure. Here's Nick King. Bit of a rough night. Started with a penalty to begin the race with an EOL. Now dealing with just trying to figure out a way to get himself into clean space. He's been involved in one incident already. See him just riding the lines as we go about and just trying to play the cautious game here.
That's all you really can do. Again, we've talked about the effects of dirty air all night. You don't want to trip up trying to go a little bit too hard and get back what you lost earlier or get a couple of spots and ruining your race. We've seen a couple of guys crash, especially over here off turn 4, getting loose, trying to get back in the throttle too early. So King for now plays conservative. Guy we haven't talked about a lot is to his inside. You're watching back from Rogers with the black and red 89 to the inside of Nick King. That is Redline's Trevor Osbornoff as he's on the move. Sanchez got loose in 1 and 2. He fades backwards. 3 rows of 3 wide for a moment. Sanchez gets passed by all 4 of those cars around him. Talking about Osbornoff, how about the move for him up to the 12th position now, the highest he's been all night. He started 23rd, he's up 11 spots to the 12th spot. Redline starting to find some speed late in this race.
And that might be telling of some of the track conditions, but also just trying to get some actual positioning here. You see the block off on Harper. Garcia nearly slams on in. And by the way, in all this, Bowie lost a fair amount of time after the pit stop cycle. He had 1 minute and 16 seconds in the box having to get repairs done.
A tough break, but for a car that fast, now that it's clean, he just, again, has to be pretty patient right there. Almost some contact with Paul Gallimore trying to work his way back forward with Brandon Bowie. So patience the key for Bowie as he tries to work back forward. But again, that car is very, very quick. So no doubt in my mind, we've not seen the last of him. Further up, Harper still to the inside of Mettler as he tries to work on him for the 6th spot. He'll get that spot back. Here off turn 4 after Garcia took it away from him a moment ago. Rogers to the inside of Mettler, so Mettler starting to fade. His teammate would be next, Kenny Reel in the 99. Fetter place, King Osbornoff all in line to take spots as Rogers to the inside of Mettler. Notably, another new light color for Sean Rogers, blue this week for him as he tries to hope one of those is the key to victory to Science Victory Lane.
I know there's conversations about the various means of colors and that, but in the case of Rogers, he's just staying in front of all these blue-themed cars right now. Real, he's been really something in the past couple of weeks. His mile-and-a-half speed's picked up. Of course, super speedway-wise, he wanted to win, had a great chance of it, but tonight, keeping things pretty steady in the top 10 as of late in the 99 camp.
Again, I talked about that team a couple of times. As Trevor Osmernaut, his teammate, tries to make a move. As he tries to get into the top 10. Osmernaut's got some late race speed here on a couple of the guys in front of him where he could very well enter the top 10 in just a moment to follow his teammate Kenny Reel. Back to Reel, though, we knew the super speedway speed was there. We knew those guys would show up last week, but the mile-and-a-halfs have been more impressive again. You know, last week's winner, Cody Nagels, even his worst finish on the tracks he started his career on here in Moonshiners Racing League competition was 14th. So nothing where he's finishing in the 20s. They already had a little bit of speed, but we've seen it steadily pick up over the last few weeks. By far the most impressive run is tonight for the 99, though. He's got, as he hits the wall there off turn 4, almost gets into Brandon Fetter place. Nick King watching on from behind them. This has been the most impressive raw speed run for that 99 car so far this year.
Gotta have to agree with you with the way things have gone absolutely here tonight. Still take a look and see where some of the others shape themselves up. Better place, still behind. As, hold on, that was not planned. I think Real got loose with the arrow.
Yeah, a little bit loose. He's going to lose a ton of positions. Now, the only good thing for him is that there's still 94 laps to negotiate with where he can get back into this fight. We'll take a look at the Top It Off Hot Sauce Company replay. And it's this same spot off turn 4 that we have seen guys get loose all night, or rather on this end of the racetrack, as he dove to the inside of his red line teammate Matt Mettler. Watch as he turns off in the corner, and this car just gets a little bit light.
That nervous moment puts him well down the order into 19th, right back where he started. And a whoa just happened on the radio. We're hearing a wreck on the radio. Caution flag is out. It's Greg Carr in the 25. Kenny Reel was right on it, hearing what was going on. Guess who got involved? Barry Sanders.
It's a break here off turn 4. This again is right behind Kenny Reel. Carr may have gotten the wall a little bit, but comes down trying to maybe stay off of the wall and comes across Barry Sanders' nose. Lucky for Carr that the other cars behind him were able to move around him, or this could have been a little bit bigger. They were already back towards the tail end of this lead pack. Contact there, met in the middle.
And it's that, with that situation, more so just Carr getting tied, he'll scrape the wall. Let's see, or is it, well, in that case, they both got tied, I think.
I think a combination of both cars being tight, but also I think Greg Carr pulled that car away from the wall, and in the fact that he's turning left as Sanders is rolling up, getting tight. Watch right here. Sanders, you can tell right there that car is pushing, and look, Greg Carr pulls his car off the wall to try to not hit it. In the process, they meet in the same piece of real estate, and Carr goes around. Again, lucky there were not more cars oncoming, and the ones that were got down away from him in quick order.
So it puts us right back at a caution with under 100 to go. They will take the opportunity to pit this time. Let's see. We ran a few laps. Oh, we do. Few drivers are going to take the opportunity, including Coffey, Garcia, and a few others.
Very split strategy here because a number of drivers are staying on the racetrack here. So not quite half and half. I think more guys are going to opt to eventually come to pit road. But a lot of the leaders, it seems like it's about half and half for who stays out and who comes down pit road. Coffey in, Garcia in, Bowie is in, Cox is in, Gallimore and others. Blaine Wilson, some guys towards the tail end. Trevor Osmernaut, by the way, came in from 10th. Donaldson, Murray, Holden, Rogers, and a couple of others opt to stay on the racetrack and re-inherit the top 4 spots.
So Coffey, as expected, one of the first ones out of behind the 89. Took the fuel only. He did take 2 tires, including Bowen, to get some track position compared to some of the others. But as we run under the caution, it's a good idea to talk with one of the Zero X Sim racing machines. We mentioned your driver profile for tonight. Chris Cornett, I think, entering his pit stall, was about to say, opportunity to speak with him, let's send it back to the team. Wait until he's out of the stall, I think is the better way to phrase it. After all, don't want to spook him mid-stop. There he goes. Now, I think he's clear to go. Apologies on that, as obviously we don't want to cause a situation with that in this one. Chris now joins the broadcast booth. Chris Cornett, do you have a copy? Chris Cornett, do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
Very quickly here, we're getting up to one to go already here. How are you feeling about how tonight's gone?
Well, I have a bad Walmart Toyota Camry, but just bad and fortunate to get involved in that big wreck on the front stretch. Had 2 minutes of damage, and then my landlord wanted some money from me, so I'm a little bit further behind on laps down than I want to be, but feel like we can get luck will come our way. We get all those cautions we need, get all the lucky dogs, get back in the lead lap, and forward toward the front.
I really want the context of the last part involving the money part, but we're coming up to the restart. Just what's the game plan from here?
Just try to stay out of trouble and keep that lucky dog in my hand, and see if we can get all those laps back and get back on the lead lap. The key word, just stay out of trouble. Don't lose it, don't spin it, and stay out of everybody else's mess.
All right, so good luck with the money part, good luck for the race. Chris Cornett now joins us, as you can see, just dragging over Bryce is saying the thank you, because we're coming to the restart for the Family Stickers Restart Zone. I really want to ask what was going on with the last part, but the race is more important. Donaldson leads it after all, back to the green.
Yeah, a couple things on Chris Cornett's mind as we go back green with just under 90 laps to go. Meanwhile, Donaldson got a good start. Murray right in his tire tracks, dropped down right on the start-finish line. It's going to allow Sean Rogers to have an uninhibited line here in clean air as he works Holden for third, Murray into second, and now we watch as the fresh tires start to come forward. Coffee, the first amongst the guys on brand new Goodyears. He's to the inside of 3 wide with Kenny Reel, at least it was for a moment. That is a mess back around the 99, the 89 of Osmonot, the 8 of Garcia. Harper's in that. Darren Mills is in that, I think. In that red, white, and blue car. No, that's not Darren Mills. That's Jim Treat inside the top 15.
And he's had a horrific night tonight, just trying to figure out a way to breathe. Matthews slides up in his heart of the pack. Everybody else trying to sort themselves out 4, 3, and 4, including Coffee, who's on the move. Garcia just passed by Hochschild 3 wide. Nearly bumped him out of the way also as they zip through the front stretch.
And almost threw him into the outside wall, and Hochschild's going the wrong way. Car to the inside. That looked like the Cox machine. Couldn't quite tell if it was or not, but somebody got down towards the infield grass in that exchange involving Hochschild off the bumper of Garcia. Off turn 2, Donaldson continues to lead Murray in his tire tracks. Rogers got by Holden for third. Nick King is trying for dear life to hold on to fifth, but it's not going to last long. Here's the fresh tires. Coffee to the outside. The 54 is the man on the move with 86 to go. The defending champ is the fastest car in virtual Texas Motor Speedway.
Caution flag is out. We have a car stopped right of the entry. Hold on. What happened to Aswarnoff? Hearing that this 89 had a screen failure and just avoided coming up into traffic.
Well, awfully lucky that he did. At least kept his wits about him enough to park down on the inside of the racetrack and not continue forward into the field. So again, look at where he's parked. Again, this could be a lot worse. He could have been up against the outside wall parked with the field coming on to be out of the racing group for the most part. Again, a couple of cars get close, but somehow no harm, no foul.
Obviously not what you plan for in this type of race, but these things happen. You'd already been having a rough night. It gets very worse here. And just like that, under 85 to go when we get back rolling once again. Aswarnoff has officially lost connection to the server, so the technical issue has gotten very much terminal, potentially. With that in mind, Donaldson up front, Murray still second with everything. The highest on tires You still have to go to Alex Coffey and Nico Garcia. They went to 5th and 7th right before the yellow flag and were flying to the pack.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Is that yellow flag helps those two cars. Again, restarts have been the prime way to gain spots during the course of this race. So with those two lining up on rows 3 and 4 respectively, they're obviously in a really good position to capitalize on even more positions on the ensuing restart. Those two for sure in the catbird seat. But Ray Donaldson's going to be a very hard man to pass. That car has been so good, and split strategies here. Murray to pit road, Nick King to pit road, Kenny Reel to pit road. Treat, Hochschild, and others will follow as a few more of the leaders will come and perhaps take another set of tires.
Some of those drivers upwards of 35 laps on their tires, including the pace laps, mind you. So not surprised to see drivers like Murray, who were some of the longest on the racetrack, take the opportunity for some fresh fuel goods. Johnny Shane missed his pit stall. Everybody else, for the most part, from the mid-pack, coming on down once again. It's almost feeling like one of those races where it's gone from a intense battle, what we've seen in stage 2, to almost tire roulette with some of the different strategies right now, with so many freshies at the back of the pack, and the old tire is going to be at the front of it.
Similarly to some of the mile and a halfs we've had earlier in the season, and Las Vegas comes to mind. It was who had a set of tires at the end that could come and take them on a late race caution, and we're approaching that territory here. Is who's going to have the extra set of Goodyears with 15, 20 laps to go if we were to get another caution to come down and take advantage, because we have seen on a short run just how much you can get on a restart, and to me, it's going to pay even more dividends if you saved a set throughout this race.
And with that in mind, still we're at least 25 laps outside the window in terms of the green light on fuel here. As we come up to the 1 to go signal, why don't we take an opportunity to speak with one of the fast drivers? It is Nico Garcia. He's getting all set to go to speed towards the front here. Nico, as we get ready for the 1 to go signal here, how do you describe your night coming back from damage repair to lead laps?
Yeah, the damage repair kind of stunk, but we got it fixed. I mean, car feels really, really good right now, and I mean, tonight's really just keeping the right rear on it, so just really trying to be real as good as I can with it. But yeah, I mean, we feel really fast tonight, so hopefully we can give these guys a run for their money. I know these precision guys are really quick here tonight, so just trying to get after it.
What do you feel you need to be able to get the quick edge with how things are going? I know you're second on your tire strat.
Yeah, definitely just get to the front and get some clean air. If I can get some clean air, keep the guys behind me, I'll be really, really, really well off. But that's the game plan right now. Try to get around some of these guys up here, get up there quick, and see what happens.
Once you get back to the boot, to your team rather, good luck.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Get Garcia start on the inside in 5th. After things settled out, Coffey is 4th in front of him, the first on the fresh tires. Then he has to drop back to Harper, who is in 9th for this restart. Donaldson, though, already more than 50 laps led. So far, it's been an interesting night here throughout the stage. Holding all of the rear bumper for the Van Louis Stickers restart zone. Green flag is out. Holden didn't get a good launch because he was all over Donaldson's bumper. And that allows the leader to clear.
And benefit Alex Coffey as well. So he'll be side by side with Holden for 3rd. He'll charge up the outside lane in turns 1 and 2. Donaldson away by 3 car lanes. Coffey wants 3rd. Garcia will follow the 54. Remember, the freshest tires in the field, at least on that last caution, belonged to Alex Coffey. Of course, now the Murray car back around the 16th position is where you'll find those fresh Goodyear Eagles. Off turn 4, Donaldson away by 6. Make it 8 car lengths. He drives away from the field. 81 laps to go, and he charges away. Coffey to 2nd ahead of Rogers. Garcia to the outside of Holden. That's for 4th. Coffey down in front of Rogers, so he'll start to save a little bit. Garcia, though, on the move, trying to get to the outside of Rogers. May have to try the inside. His outback. 3, 4, 5 cars all got the safer barrier.
Oh, a little bit of contact. Garcia trying to get underneath. Rogers had been on the apron just about with it. 44 forced to give up the spot, I think in part because Rogers trying to crowd Garcia to close that door. And just like that, Garcia up to third. Murray on his drive on the fresh tires is in 15th. It's not as big of a progression forward because it's only a small difference compared to the others.
Well, I thought the decision was so interesting to come and get tires comparatively to when the others did in front of him, but his run to the front continues at least for the time being. Everything settles out. Top four back to the Rogers machine. Then you'll find Holden, Fetterplace, Harper, Vinson, and the returning Matt Cox. Remember earlier, got into an incident in the 32, got into that big crash on the front straightaway. We had not seen much of him since. Now it's not backsliding for Cox. He comes forward. He's 8th back into turn 3 as his recovery continues. He just got around his teammate Vinson. It's as high as he's been since the incident 15 laps in.
Right now, we're seeing just how much some of these drivers have really capitalized a bit on strategy. Sanders, one of those on the bit of the newer tires that got him some of the track position in the first place here. But up front, Donaldson leads, but for how long? Coffey and Garcia are a little quicker. You're 2/10 quicker last time by. The average was actually slower for Coffey compared to Donaldson. But Donaldson's pace is starting to back down with him already on 31 laps on his cycle of tires.
Look at these three stagger out in turn 1 with their line choices as well. This is going to benefit Nico Garcia, who is going to get that big run on that high arcing line in turns 1 and 2. Will he dive to the inside of Coffey? No. He'll think better of it, jump to the second lane in 3 and 4, although it's also where Alex Coffey decides to run as he throttles back up. Here comes Coffey, trying to get to the back of Donaldson. This is for the lead. They are away, by the way, 12 car lengths from Rogers in 4th, so they have driven away a bit, have some room to experiment here with 76 laps to go. Coffey into the second lane. Garcia this time dives to the bottom, all behind the Donaldson machine, who continues trying to wash dirty air across their bumpers. This is as close as the champ has been. Alex Coffey to the inside. He leans, but Donaldson throws dirty air on his bumper, but he washes up trying to do it. Dove too deep in the corner, flew too close to the sun. Coffey to the lead off 4, Garcia to second.
Yet again, another swamp. It's been busy like this all night, it feels like. Some of your top competitors, it's not done for second. Foley, Donaldson, there's a spot to Garcia. Foley this time through. And Nico looking to show, it's your boy up to the point. If he can get one more pass on Coffey. Better place, by the way. Doesn't look too happy, does he? Despite running 8th.
Have to at least be content if I was Brandon Fetterplace. Again, it's another quiet night for him, a guy who's not gotten a checkered flag in 2026 so far, but it's top 5 in the point standings. I think you got to be content with that. He's got some stage points tonight. He's well inside the top 10 in position. Another really solid run here at Texas, really working the chase format well so far this year. Rogers from 4th has the popcorn seat for the battles in front of him. Imagine he'll get to Donaldson, maybe not to the leaders. Garcia smacks the wall off turn 4. You saw him going wide, and he got it again there off of 4.
Yet again, it feels like turn 4. Too many people are pushing a little bit maybe on the throttle on the exit. That's causing troubles. Murray's gained 5 spots in about 10 laps, by the way, since the last time I checked in. Right now, Murray, his pace for comparison, 30 flats. He's running the same speed as Coffey, the race leader. So obviously that black and orange 22 has the pace to make moves. It's just the problem is, just going to have to make up a lot of the ground compared to those on the strategy that are highest of those who pit last caution. Matt Cox, by the way, involved in some of the incidents tonight, rides in 6th.
The recovery train continues for him up to P6 for the 32, so a good run shaping up for him right behind Timothy Harper, who so far is still the best recovery story in this race, up to the 5th position, challenging for the 4th spot on Sean Rogers. Further back, another one of those recoveries that's ongoing is Brandon Bowie. We talked about his damage earlier. He's stalled out just outside of the top 15, now actually enters back into it in the 14th spot. So Bowie continues his charge back forward. He ran as high as the lead for a moment earlier. Kenny Reel's recovery behind him also continues. He follows Bowie through. That's for 15th for the 99 as Harper looks for 4th on Rogers.
And it's been a solid recovery night because remember, Harper, it feels like it was only about an hour or so ago. We talked about it was penalties, and more penalties for the 23. Now for Harper, at the very least has a top 10 car. This is a great recovery from what could have been a sub-top 20 day if he did not, you know, dig in, settle in, and figure out a way to get back on the lead lap and get calmed down.
Well, and on pace for a couple of big momentum-boosting weeks, too. Again, a podium last week in Talladega, looking to do the same tonight in Texas. Gets the wall on the straightaway there as we hand away from the Rogers and Harper battle. Harper got it right there at the start-finish line. Plus 24, biggest mover in the field. Plus 25 as he goes by Sean Rogers here off tour. He's going to on the back straightaway. So move him to fourth for the time being, at least, as those two go side by side. Cox right in behind them. And really, Donaldson is attainable here for Harper as well. He's got a car that's better than the 67 is right now. He can be as high as third, and in fact, the leaders aren't really out of arm's reach yet either for the 23, so the night continues for him. The night continues also for Murray. His charge on fresh tires up to P8.
Continuing his quest forward, as you see, Murray zipping around Fetter Place, no issue. Now keep in mind, some of these drivers are pretty close to a pit stop. You're talking about less than 20 laps or less than 10 minutes away. Some of those include Chris Vincent, Kyle Holden, Sean Rogers. I'm thinking about that pretty soon. So at this point, remember, we've already seen, at least with Texas, some drivers looking at battle to get into pit road. How do you feel about the pit entry here that we're about to see in a little bit for these drivers?
It's not the easiest at Texas Motor Speedway, to say the least, and we have not yet had a green flag cycle tonight for guys to have to come down pit road. It comes up quickly on you there off turn 4 to get down to pit speed, get inside the commitment box, and with where the banking is, you don't want to come off the banking too quickly. You can either scrub too much speed, get that car out of shape. You don't want to be the guy that spins in front of the field. You really don't want to be the guy that's sitting in the racing groove going pit speed. Remember a few years ago, the NASCAR Cup Series, I remember Quinn Houth coming down across the racetrack trying to pit, and that did not work out very well for him. Of course, back at Las Vegas last year, Ty Dillon being that guy in the racing group, you never want to be that guy. For the lead, Garcia underneath Coffey, leaning to the left of the 54. Battle is on for the lead as Harper gets to Donaldson. That's fourth, third, a pair of battles here at the front of the field.
Getting a little bit dicey again. Harper on the outside for third. Looking to get the whip around, and will that be complete? Yes. It's Harper up to third. Here we go for the point, side by side once again. Owen Garcia couldn't get it going.
And he's going to pound the wall again there off turn 4. The third time tonight. The 8 has really knocked the fence down off turn 4. Now he'll fall to the clutches of Harper, Cox, and Donaldson in a 4-way battle for second. Coffey says thank you very much, drives away by 10 car lengths, and is for the time being home free away from the battle for the second spot. Garcia does good to hold off Harper for now, but that 23 has looked better and better since he got back on the lead lap. He's dialed it in on pit road, and he's the fastest he's been all night right now as he's going to challenge Garcia here back when they get to turn 1.
Yep, and right now you see how Bowie is going to the inside for this 11th spot. For Bowie, had opportunities to battle earlier. Since his repairs, hasn't recovered.
He's recovered a little bit. Remember earlier, 20th position for him, up to 11th now, which is the highest he has been since that incident earlier in the night where he had to get that damage repaired. So for Bowie, at least, he's on the right track. Now he's got to pick up a couple of more spots for the night to feel satisfying. That car has been top 5 in pace all night, but he's kind of stalled out just outside the top 10 now as they got all the way up to the 11th spot. Harper continues to work on Garcia, and both of them have reeled back in Alex Coffey. Oh, meanwhile, Matt Cox is starting to work into this conversation as well. We get very well in a 4-way battle for the lead, and I think Garcia and Harper both know it. They're starting to press the issue on the defending champion.
Yeah, you're seeing that right now with the pressure on the inside. Garcia with the run. Garcia looks for the point. A squeeze back for Coffey. Yet again, the 54 with the edge in front. And look at Garcia get loose.
Again, that car has continued to build loose throughout the night, and off turn 4, it's bit him a couple of times right there. It almost bites him in turn 1 and 2. Cox has faded just a tad, by the way, from these 3 cars Alex Murray, by the way, just got by Kyle Holden. That's for 6th, so fresh tires are on the way as well, as Murray is just outside the top 5, and he's starting to reel in this conversation for the lead as well. Harper to the inside of Garcia's. Coffee scoots away by a few car lengths for the moment. So for now, it's a 2-car battle for 2nd, but here comes Garcia again. Another attempt incoming for the lead. Deep dive into turn 3. He wants it back.
Really trying to do something fast for some of these drivers. But we're inside the fuel window to go. Pit window is open. When do drivers take it now is the huge question, especially with how intense the leaders are starting to get here. Remember, the fall off hasn't actually been too bad at all tonight. It's only been 8 tenths.
A lot less than I thought it was going to be. A hot track, a high-speed, D-shaped oval. I thought for sure that this place would fall off a 1.5 seconds or more like we saw at Kansas a couple of weeks ago, but instead, there hasn't been much punishment to burning your tires early in a run or running long on a set of tires, and I think that benefits the guys that are going to go longer on this run. They just will not have the undercut effect that they would at, say, a Kansas a few weeks ago or a Las Vegas back in March.
Yeah, it's definitely been a different type of race for the way things have gone tonight. But right now, Cox, in his situation, looking to try and figure out a way to dig. So far, his pace 2 tenths off the leader. Last time by, his average has been quicker than the leader over the past 5 on that mark. Murray's quest to the front continues. He's up to the battle for 5th.
He's got the Donaldson car that continues to fall away from the race leaders. Murray, of course, on the freshest tires amongst these leaders, taking them on that last caution flag a little while ago. So able to charge forward, and you can kind of see as the night's gone on, guys have realized that the tires aren't falling off as much as maybe they anticipated, because they are continuing to push later and later and later into a run. See Alex Murray as an example as he continues to push the outside of Donaldson. This is for 5th. Alex Murray to that spot. Donaldson will seat it into 3. 22 back into the top 5. Meanwhile, Bowie is 10th, running down Fetter Place and others for the spots rather in front of him. Rather, he just got to 9th. Matt Cox is going to start the pit cycle as he's on pit road.
It's now time for the 32 machine as Cox will open up the window. He was only 36 on the run, though. That is early.
Going to try the undercut. I talked about it a moment ago that it's not going to be what we anticipated in terms of the effects of that. When he comes off pit road, he'll be trying to make lap time as compared to guys trying to conserve. Now, does anyone answer the call here off turn 4? It does not appear that they will, so at least a 2-lap undercut for Matt Cox. An aggressive strategy call still outside of 50 laps to go.
Still a lot to think about here. Paul Gallimore, by the way, he's running 11th, running his car number. Bit of a rough one. He started the race by immediately moving up to the high side. Has been amongst those just trying to get off the struggle bus. So we can take a look at some of the errors calling for pit stops coming up.
Yeah, off turn 4, again, a lot of the leaders going to avoid pit road this time around as well. So drivers on the lead lap. This is at least now going to be a 3-lap undercut for Matt Cox. So a potential 3-lap advantage for him on this set of tires, but as soon as these guys come to pit road, that advantage is wiped out. So aggressive and try to make lap time, but the longer these guys go, I think the less that it works, unless he can really pick up some time on these laps that he is out away from the field on his strategy call. Another pass by pit road. Still no takers amongst the leaders.
Nothing doing amongst the front runners, and it's not a surprise. With the way things are going, do you really want to risk being put into the pack? And right now, some of the drivers not willing to take that risk here with the way things have gone. Garcia stays at the bottom. Christensen, by the way, with everything cycling, he runs 12. And right now, he's the one those going to nearly stop into the wall. Look at how much the dirty air is impacting his front end.
On a pair of cars did stuff it in the wall. Second and third, Garcia and Harper both got it, and got it in a big way last time around off turn 4. They both knocked the fence down, and both now appear to have some right side damage. Back to the Top It Off Hot Sauce Company replay. This was a considerable hit for both cars as they worked off turn 4. Look at them both. Almost identical hits to the wall, and that was not small.
Yeah, now that's going to really impact them potentially here. Let's look at this again. Yeah, you see Garcia carrying a little bit too much speed, and Harper just about followed him, keeping the throttle up high, and actually rear-ended him.
He got in the aero wash as Garcia washed up carrying that much speed. Harper got in the aero wash of the 8 car, and they both got the wall. Got it again in a considerable way. Harper still able to make the pass. That was for second as they run. Another car was on pit road last time around, by the way. I believe it was the Bowen machine. It was the one of the black and red cars, either he or Trevor Osmanoff, who I believe is still out of the race. I believe it was Wayne Bowen that makes his pit stop. A couple of others towards the tail end have come down pit road as Murray's working on Garcia. This would be on track for third as they run right now pre-green flag cycle.
Not bad at all for Murray, but we were expecting this with a little bit of the tire difference. He is running the same speed as the leader. More drivers, including Garcia, are in.
I'm not surprised here. Maybe some damage to the Garcia car, and the tires have really started to go away for him. No surprise to me. He's going to make a bit of an aggressive call as well, just inside of 50 to go. He will come to pit road. Now it's on the onus is on the rest of the leaders to potentially answer the call. That would include the Donaldson machine, who I imagine will be the next one on pit road. That car has really fallen off the cliff.
Yeah, and remember, he's got 60 lap old tires though. So the back end seems really bad for the tire where, oh, they're nearly dooring each other. But Donaldson could have had his night, dominated the first 2 stages in terms of pace. Just the strategy roulette did not go the 67's way right here. They'll need a caution to be back on equal footing to have a chance to pounce again.
It'll be interesting to see how this cycles out as Donaldson continues to run laps. Harper down pit road. The 23 is going to cede the spot. Another one of the leaders. Almost trouble. Holden and Christensen almost crashed right there around Harper off of turn 4. They managed to keep it together. The Shamrock Camrys on pit road, the next of the leaders to make their scheduled green flag pit stop.
So at this point, we'll find out how this is going to go with Kyle Holden now calling for pit stops. Shade in the heart of the field, and there's a flurry more of stops coming in. I think people are just making sure, compared to some other races, not as much of a runway being left late. There they go. Donaldson is in. Some of these drivers just wanted to get off the struggle bus. All while Coffee did cycle with the stop to 14th for now.
Coffee continues to lead the way as of right now. Remember, Alex Murray is going to go long here on the newest tires in the field, so expect the 22 to run longer than anybody else does on this run. Harper almost had that crash around. And by the way, Kyle Holden looked awfully quick on pit entry. Going back to check and see if he is serving a penalty. He continues to sit in his box. A fatal error potentially for Kyle Holden as he was too fast on entry.
Big mistake in his situation. Holden was a contender for the top 5 at least tonight. Not anymore. Paul Gallimore is amongst those who can go pretty long here. He's still got at least 13 laps he can go here. Right now trying to attack the 34. On the outside, Gallimore picking up some spots late.
A number of guys going long. Coffee, the leader. Of course, Murray, we mentioned, is going to go a little bit longer. Barry Sanders, Kenny Reel, Gallimore, Fennerplace, Bowie, Christensen, Wilson, Treat, all in the camp of going a little bit long, all the way back, looks like to the Medina machine. As Aaron Matthews makes his pit stop, actually back to Nick King. So, number of cars running a little bit longer here. Again, I anticipate Alex Murray is going to run, again, around that 5 to 10 laps longer than the rest of the guys around him. So, anticipate that he will continue to stay out even when the leader, Alex Coffey, comes to pit road in just a moment. You're on board with the boss man. How about the run for Barry Sanders tonight? He started 32nd in this race. He runs third with just 42 laps to go as he waits to make his green flag pit stop. Yep,
at this point, I'm not I'm not sure what's going to cycle in the case of Marine Company with even the small difference on laps. When you add it up over 10, 15 laps, 8/10 a lap is still upwards of about 10 seconds. That's a lot of time some of these drivers are going to have to make up in the long run by the end of how things are situated here at this point. This is going to be an absolute challenge for those that are going to the overcut. But Murray still riding behind with Coffee, still stretching. There goes Coffee. There's only so far he can go. He leaves himself 40 laps to make up the time.
Well, look at where Matt Cox has gotten to. He's about to pass the Gallimore machine, who was running 5th on the racetrack, not terribly far behind the leaders. So Matt Cox made up a ton of time on this undercut. It's going to pay off for the Chicago Bears Chevy. He may very well lead, and lead considerably when this cycle goes all the way through. So we talked about the lack of fall-off. I didn't exactly anticipate the field would go an extra 15 laps before they all came to pit road, and it's going to benefit the 32. Gallimore finally decides to dive onto pit road. Murray's not going to go long. Alex Murray pits now, answers the call, and he's on pit road with 40 laps to go.
I think that's the plan, absolutely the plan. If you are the dig machines, come on down now, get it taken care of. And for Barry Sanders, his play might be simple. Most of the field's a lap down right now. Hope for a caution flag. Give him a chance to win because he has been not having the greatest of nights, as we said.
I think he'd have to get it pretty quickly, though, because Matt Cox is about to unlap himself behind the race leader, Sanders. If he is able to unlap himself, that'd be the fastest car and on newer tires, and he does right there. So Cox is back on the lead lap. Sanders, not much challenge that he can make there with multiple lap older tires. So he will continue to stay out. Another couple of drivers are staying out on the same strategy, by the way. Kenny Reel, right behind Barry Sanders, shades of a couple of weeks ago, is going to stay out and inherit the race lead. Sanders to pit road as Reel goes to the point.
So Reel and Treat, along with Shade, are the only drivers left who are up towards the very, very front. Others still have a lot of time lost to the leaders. Medina, Sanders in as well. But the net driver who's up in front after all the pit stops so far, 17 laps in already, Matt Cox is just about in position to see what happens here because he's already unlapped himself. This is a mighty big jump compared to Harper & Company. You're upwards of your 6 seconds. This is a lot of time for even the tire difference to make up.
Yeah, now, obviously closer to that fuel window. 54 laps on this last run for Cox as compared to 40 for some of the guys who just came to pit road. So it's a considerable tire advantage for the guys who pit later in the run. So Cox is on defense here, trying to just do enough to get victory lane. But he has a considerable lead over, right now, Carr runs hypothetically second. Harper would be third on the racetrack as they run if it's cycled out. I think Carr still does have to make his pit stop in the 25. So, but Harper is nearly half a track behind. I mean, this is a considerable gap from Cox back to Harper. Look at the gap right here. There's the 23 just now off turn 2. Donaldson and Coffey battle for position there. That is a considerable amount of ground they have to make up, and not a lot of laps to do it.
Not at all, and my concern is, are you going to run out of time with the time difference? Mind you, it's a 10th or 2 quicker for Harper & Company. So there is absolutely a small difference there, but keep in mind, Reel is only losing half a second to a second a lap with his call, and he can go for another 10. That would put him within 25 laps to go on his attempt to stretch here, and some of the others hoping to wish upon a star and get a miracle here in Texas. At this point, that would be an absolute Richter scale shuffle for the 99, who is 18th in points coming in. Needs a very big break here.
Yeah, he was only 5 points off the cut line as well. See, his surge in this series continues. He is going to need a caution here, obviously deciding that was the only way to get back into position. He ran as high as 5th earlier in the night, in fact, earlier in stage 3. But unfortunately for him, is now in a position he was running in the teens to have to stay out and hope for a yellow flag to get him in position to get the finish that he needs. And the field this spread out at this point seems a little bit unlikely. By the way, Harper and Coffey both worked around the gray car machine that was running in front of them. So now it is clean track for the most part besides Real and Bowen between Coffey, Harper, and Matt Cox as they try to run him down under green. Although, again, it's a stiff contest to ask, a stiff question to ask. They are well behind the 32 with only 1 to 2/10 difference. That's just not a lot of lap times gained as Coffey's actually going to make the pass on Harper here in the 1.
Yeah, now see Coffey slip by easily indeed. Better place in his situation. He's going to be one of those potentially flying here because he's got a little bit fresher tires than the others. Equalization is going to be the big conversation point for him, but he's one of those that might be charging late if the tires keep falling off the way they were at the back end of these runs.
Yeah, absolutely. Could see him making up a several spots late, already back up to 14th for him. About 8th is where he was running early in this stage. So I'd imagine that's where he's targeting, trying to get back to as he chases that red car in front of him. That is Sean Rogers. Lap times last time by, Cox 30.49, Coffey 30 flat. 4/10 difference between, almost 5/10 difference between the two leaders. Coffey's on rails. We'll see what they run this time by. 30.45 for Matt Cox. 30.29 for Coffey as his times start to fall off.
Yeah, is that going to be a concern at this point, you think, long term? Because it's still 3 seconds. Is there going to be enough time for Coffey to get there? Or is Matt Cox going to come back for a wreck and win this? You still have 30 laps, 15 minutes to work with. But Coffey needs to find something quickly here if he wants any sort of shot.
You have the line 3.2 seconds between those two cars. At that rate with 29 laps to go, Coffey would need to gain over a 10th a lap. Last time by, Cox a 30.52, Coffey a 30.2. Getting some draft from Wayne Bowen has definitely helped. 54, he goes on by him. So he's in clean air now behind Cox, and running 0.3 faster would absolutely get him there, but he has to maintain it for basically the next 15 laps to be able to get to Matt Cox. And then, not only does he have to get there, he has to make the pass, which tonight has proved to be very, very difficult. The driver in front runs a defensive line.
Yeah, you see some of the drivers just experimenting with the top line and playing things around. Bowen, at least, is running about his average for the first 2 races he appeared in. Move out of the way of 23. Donaldson's kind of one of those I'm wondering about now that he's got a bit more equal footing on the tire set here too. See him right in front of Murray. Will Donaldson have the speed he needs to get up some of these spots? Right now, he's running in the 3s. That is compared to Cox, 0.3 quicker, 0.4 quicker for Coffey last time.
Yeah, tough to say on Donaldson because I don't think we have a true gauge of his long run speed under his race car, because the long run that we had before this pit stop, Donaldson was on 30 lap older tires than the rest of the field, fell off worse, but again, that makes sense because of the strategy call earlier. Now on equal footing, we'll see if Donaldson's got a good enough long run car to potentially keep up with the Coffey and Harper and Murray machines, eventually be involved in this battle for the win when it comes to fruition. By the way, the gap down to 2.6 seconds as we continue to watch the man leading the race. We keep talking about Cox, Coffey, Harper, Donaldson, and Murray. Kenny Real is actually the race leader with 25 to go. As he comes off turn 4, he's racking up some points for laps led. But again, we do anticipate he'll be on pit road any time now in the next 5 laps or so.
Has to at this point. At the very least, Bowie's still going to have a top 10 run here, doing points leader things, but it's kind of below his standard set in the races so far. He's got 5 top 10s in 10 starts. This will actually potentially, if he doesn't find a way to gain a few more spots here after the couple cars in front pit, would put him below 50% of the top 5 rate, which he is the only driver outside of Alex Murray to do so coming into tonight.
Well, every week is make the most of what you have, and obviously Bowie was in the conversation for the lead earlier, but after that incident a little while ago, he had to get the damage fixed to recover to where he is. Obviously is good enough in its own right. He's got cars in front of him here that he is catching, so we'll see if he can gain a couple of more spots. By the way, Alex Murray goes on by Braden Donaldson. That is for the 8th position on the racetrack, counting the guys that have not yet come to pit road back to Mark Sanchez. So A pass up ahead of him. Now Donaldson's in his crosshairs, so potentially a couple more spots at play for the points leader, Bowie, before this thing's said and done. 4 guys that still have to come to pit road. It's likely he'll cycle out 6th if he does not lose any more spots. The guys behind him, by the way, a ton of clean track out back of him. The gamble continues for Kenny Reel. He's off into turn 3. We anticipate him on pit road any minute now, but he continues to stay out. We're down to just 22 to go.
And still, plan is simple. If you're Real, stretch, stretch, and more stretch. And remember, you only have a couple races to the All-Star break where things get a little bit spicy. It's actually turned into a pretty tame race, I will say. This is the calm before the wildness you may see here. Cox's lead is shrinking even more because of that tire difference. It's down to under 2, and all of a sudden, Coffee is playing da-da, da-da. And my question is, not again Coffee, better not strike with the race lead again. He has been snake bit for 6 weeks.
And he's yet to go to victory lane in 2026 either. The defending champ wants this one bad. He can see it in his windshield now. By the way, Murray makes another pass behind him on Harper. That's for 7th. It appears as if Alex Murray might be the fastest of these 3 cars that are now inside the top 3. In fact, last time around by 7 thousandths, he was the fastest of the 3 cars. So don't count Alex Murray out of this either. As Coffee runs down Cox, Murray's running down both of those cars. So perhaps here, a multi-car battle for the win incoming as Coffee continues to run down to 32. The 22 is not far back of that either.
Yeah, and right now, the question will be, what happens if Murray reaches Coffee? Does Murray fight him? Well, that's the obvious part. Does Coffee let him go knowing he's a dick teammate? Or does he try and keep the track position and have a chance to win himself? That could be an interesting team dynamic part. Hold that thought. Caution flag is out. Everything out the window. Kenny Reel leads with a yellow flag in turn 2. It is Reel who spun it.
That gamble went bad quickly. You thought for a second that Kenny Reel had won the lottery. Well, in fact, he goes back and checks the lottery ticket. He was 1 number off as he's the car that goes around in turn 1. Top it off Hot Sauce Company replay. Reel was leading the race with inside of 20 to go. The car got out from underneath him. Wilson scoots on by. Luckily for him, I think everyone's going to get around this okay. But a tough break for Reel, who now will lose all that track position that he gambled so hard to get.
Have you ever seen a car just lose it mid-apex like that in Texas?
I can't say I have, at least not like that. But again, this Gen 7 race car over the past several weeks has acted odd at some of these mile-and-a-half tracks with where it decides to lose grip. And so for Reel right there, likely it's just he didn't even see it coming. It just snapped. There wasn't much he could do at all.
So this changes everything. Reel does stay on the lead lap. He's in 7th after the spin. Johnny Shade is your leader. Now with the fact that we're likely going to see people take sets, potentially the last sets here, does Johnny have enough speed with a fresh set of boots especially to hold back these drivers now? He's going to have to do so for about 15 laps if he does hold on after pit stops here.
Clean air has been so crucial in this race. We've seen it matter time and time and time again. So for the guys coming to get tires, Shade and Medina, that are going to be the 2 ahead of the guys on the fresher tires after that pit stop, you have to imagine it's going to mean something to start up front, and they now have an opportunity. And by the way, there's not going to be a ton of laps left on this race when this thing gets back under green flag conditions. About 14, maybe 13 laps to go when we come back around to get the green flag. So there's not a whole lot of time that they'll have to hold off the guys who will be on new tires behind them, or equal tires behind them, rather. A couple guys gamble on pit road perhaps from further back, and this is going to shake their running order up. Bowie may have gambled a little bit there.
Absolutely did. It's 2 tires for Brandon Bowie, and the points leader takes the gamble. This is the time to do it, though. Fetter Place and Gallimore also did it. Absolute shambles for some of the field here. Shade will be second, Dawson. This is going to get wild to end this off.
Well, and knowing that Brandon Bowie has been so aggressive at times tonight with the slide jobs and some of the defensive moves he's been pulling, what a moment here for Brandon Bowie as he inherits the lead.
Absolutely. Let's talk with your points leader. Brandon, why did he just take 2 tires?
Well, I've been kind of running like poo-poo, and I got damage, unfortunately, from smacking the wall about a couple thousand times. So I figured, well, we'll try 2 and see if we can snooker a win. Not a guarantee it's going to happen, but we'll see what happens.
How difficult is this going to be to hold back the field? Mind you, the first 3 of 4, including yourself, will be on 2. But you also have Cox up there, you have Coffee, you have Murray that are going to have to dig, and Johnny Shade right next to you. What's kind of your thoughts on holding everyone back?
It's not going to be easy at all. You know, I think the 2 tires, from what I understand, can hold. Might need a caution in between that, possibly, to really solidify it. But it's definitely going to be tricky. It's going to be a challenge. But, I mean, that's why we're here, right? We're here to win races and try to see if we can steal one today.
Why don't you get back to your team? Thanks.
Yep, thanks.
Brandon Bowie, join us in the broadcast booth, and we'll get back to Arrow 2. Your thoughts, Dawson, for the family stick with the restart zone late?
I mean, you're the points leader. I talked about it earlier, the luxury of being able to make this decision with a sizable points lead. Why not make an attempt to steal one, like he said, and he's going to try to do it right here on 2 tires. It's an interesting decision for sure, knowing that 4 tires aren't very far behind him. But the points leader again, why not? And I think that's the mentality that you heard right now. Why not try to go steal one? It's a pace car down to pit road. The field in the hands of Bowie, the points leader of the restart zone. 14 to go at Texas. Green flag. Bowie's off to the races. He got a great start. Medina didn't go from row 4. Bowie's away by 4 car lengths, and he's going to try to sail away.
Can Bowie hold back the pack? Fetter place already to second. Gallimore passing by Shade also. But everybody watches ahead as well into the edge of the top 5. That's where you'll find Coffee and Cox boxed in into 3.
Boxed in is the right word. They're trying to make the moves, but trying not to be too impatient here. 13 to go with the line. Cox alongside Shade for 4th. Coffee trying to follow through. Bowie away by 6 car lanes. Not getting as far away as perhaps he thought he would with the cars behind him on 2 and no tires. 4 tires continue to chase. Cox still to the inside of Shade. Coffee following him. Murray following both of them. But all 3 on 4. None of them can get as far as up to Johnny Shade's left side door. That's as close as they can get. Cox now might clear to 4th. He might get to Gallimore, his teammate, by the time they get back to 1. But he's running out of laps.
Running out of time, running out of opportunities. Matt Cox to the outside. Has to lift hard to make sure he doesn't burn up his stuff against the teammate. Gallimore stays up in front. Coming to 11 laps to go in the PayRVA 300. Cox gets blocked off by his teammate. Cox not having the best of times to pass by Gallimore. The 11 is fighting him.
Trying to maintain every point that he can here at the end of the race after the 2-tire Campbell, and Bowie is scooting away with 11 laps to go. Now Cox has the outside lane, which has been better on 4 tires, but Gallimore continues to be a thorn in his side. Meanwhile, Coffee gets around Shade. Murray's going to cross over. He'll make the pass. So a trio of cars now trying to get past Gallimore, but Bowie's lead is already almost 0.8 of a second on the rest of the field. It might be an insurmountable gap with 10 laps to go. Shade in the wall hard. That's back around Harper. Donaldson goes by as well. They avoid more contact and potentially a caution flag. 10 to go. Cox is clear to 3rd. I don't know if he's got enough time.
3 wide. Shade's got damage. Cox is trying to battle up in front. Some of the other contenders still stuck in the traffic. But the 32 needs to fly and needs to go quick. Last time by was equal to the leaders. Shade with that contact as mentioned. He ended up hitting the fender in, so count the 45 out of the conversation. But with 9 to go, true test, Bowie was quicker than everybody else.
Clean air is king and has been king all night long to this point. and the points leader may just do what he told us he was going to do a second ago and steal away a victory in Texas. Off turn 4, he'll only have 8 laps to go. He's gone, I think, from hoping to get a caution flag for the gamble to work to now hoping for one not to come out with just 8 laps to go as his lead continues to grow over Fetter Place and Cox.
And now at this point, it's now the hope if you're Bowie, no cautions to muddle up the field because it can get unpredictable from there. Right now, much of the field single filed. Murray still looking for a top 5. Coffey might be kicking himself a bit, but this is one of the best runs Coffey's had in the past few weeks. He holds on to the top 5 for now.
And again, I think after the last 6 weeks, you called him snake bit. I think he would take it tonight. Obviously, you kick yourself. As a championship caliber driver, you always want to win. But if he can finish this thing off where he is right now, I think you got to take it and go forward from here and say, that's what I needed to get back on track as he continues his good start to 2026. Up front, Bowie scoots away, but lost a little bit of time. 6 to go. Fetter Place on a bit of a charge now. With just 6 laps left, he's only gaining 400ths per lap. Not nearly enough to get to the back bumper of the Bowie machine. Cox not gaining anything. By the way, Cox, the 4 tires are losing ground on the 2 tires here.
Yeah, that's interesting. What does that say a lot about the setup Bowie's had where it's faster with the 2? Or is that just to where he was able to make the adjustment perfect here to counter the balance with the 2 tires better than what the 4 tire cars have on pace?
Probably more of the latter, where 2 tires on the right side are going to free up the race car on entry and exit and allow you to rotate the center a little bit better than even maybe a set of 4 tires would. So it could very well be that the way that these guys have their cars set up, they're able to rotate better on 2, and that's why the pace is just a little bit better for those 2 cars. Now as they come across the line, 4 to go for Bowie. He is still losing time to Fetter Place, but again, bit of an insurmountable gap unless Fetter Place really gets on his horse here. Cox maintained that time. 1.4 seconds is a distant amount away from Bowie without a caution flag.
What a night for Brandon Bowie is all you can say coming up to 3 laps to go. It started off as a night where he started a bit slow, had to work his way with the pack, joined the conversation for the lead. Didn't lead laps, by the way, until this pit call. He had actually dropped back because of heavy damage he picked up from one of the wall hits to the chassis. Felt like he was not quick. And now, with 2.5 laps to go, he's the quickest car on the racetrack. All of a sudden, Bowie's gone from in the basement to up on into the penthouse suite. Hold on, the caution is out with 2 to go. It's the backstretch. Johnny Shade amongst those around.
And hold everything, because that is not what you wanted to see if you're Brandon Bowie here upcoming to a restart. And now will send us to overtime. Top it off, Hot Sauce Company replay. This is around the Shade machine. It really fallen off the last 3 or 4 laps on his gamble on pit road. And coming off turn 2, it's dig on dig violence. Wilson in the left rear of Shade. Bowen's in it. Matthews, man, monster hit there to the inside wall for him as he monster trucked over the top of the 78 of Bowen.
What in the world's just happened is all you can really say. All of a sudden, the past few minutes have gotten absolute eclectic. Here's Holden. Holden having to dodge. Did pick up contact. That's going to hurt him.
There's some left rear contact. You're curious about the left rear wheel on that 97. He's got some front end damage there as well on his car. So a couple of the Aero cars involved, along with the Bowen machine. Of course, Johnny Shade, who got around on the bumper of Blaine Wilson. And now, JP, we head to overtime. Bowie had said under that interview just a moment ago, I need a caution. I'm going to have one. Can't imagine he wanted to see one there with 2.5 laps to go.
Yeah, definitely not. And now this opens the door for everybody else. Your lucky dog is Sanders, by the way. That puts us 20 on the lead lap. But now, I don't know about this one. This could go a lot of different ways here because Bowie seems to have the fire off as the control car. Does the 32 have something to go for it? Mind you, the drivers on Freshies are going to be down in 16th.
Yeah, he didn't on the last run. That's what was so confusing to me for a moment, is that the 4 tires were just not nearly as good. And so to me, it still may be advantage to Brandon Bowie on this restart if he gets away with the race lead. The only question to me is going to be if Fetter Place can fire off with Bowie here on this restart and be alongside him into turn 1, because he had comparable lap times also on that 2-tire strategy. So it's all up how he restarts, also how aggressive Matt Cox wants to get on the entry to turn 1.
Now we get a chance to box things back up. Remember, green-white checker time is now the trigger because of the time at the caution flag. If it gets the white flag, race is over. Or rather, if it gets the white flag, race can't be frozen by a caution. If we get one before the white comes out, though, then the race will end under yellow. We only have one attempt available in Moonshiners Racing League sanctioned competition. So to reset your top 10 lane, it's Bowie and Fetter Place, it's Cox and Gallimore, it's Coffey and Murray, it's Donaldson and Harper, it's Rogers and Sanchez. All in your top 10. The first on Freshies, Nico Garcia. He's in 15 after some of the incidents involved in earlier. Don't think you're passing 15 cars in 2 laps.
He's not passing 15, but he could easily pass 3, 4, 5, and perhaps snag a top 10 finish out of this. So for him, again, considering the circumstances he's in, I think you got to take what you've been given here tonight and capitalize on at least what you can control. Out front, again, I think this restart entirely comes down to how the 34 and 32 fire off as compared to Brandon Bowie. If Bowie gets going as he did on the last restart, it may be all she wrote with just 2 laps to go. I just don't think there's enough time for the field to get back to it.
So we're getting set to go. Can Bowie hold on? Here we go. Gonna be a wild run with the Van Louis stickers restart zone this time. Slow roll through for the 51. Green flag is out. Bowie got a better launch again. Cox did not match it on the inside. Bowie runs away by 2 car lengths, make it 3. It's side by side for second.
That may be your ball game here in turn 1 as Fetter Place gets a big run in turn 1. They'll stay side by side, and that may be all she wrote. As you watch off the back of the points leader, Fetter Place needs a Herculean last 2 laps. Almost trouble out back. Wilson, Carr, and others going towards the apron. It stays green for now. They work off of 4. This time by, they'll see the white flag brought to you by League Gaming.
Right now, Bowie just looking to make no mistakes. Matt Cox looking to make some Herculean runs. Right now, Bowie's got the advantage. To the back straightaway we go. Your points leader, Brandon Bowie, has been very difficult to stop when he's been dominant. But tonight, he had to work just to get a lead lap tonight. This evening, Bowie goes from being in the mid-pack to the back, to the front, to the back, to the front again to win. This is the 4th win of the season for Brandon Bowie, and the 51 does it again.
And again, to have the luxury as the points leader to gamble, and by the way, when it pays off, that just tells you what kind of speed Brandon Bowie has brought to the racetrack week after week. He gets another victory. You mentioned it, 4 on the season. He's the points leader for a reason. That points lead just got a little bit bigger tonight in Texas.
So now, as a result, celebration time. Victory Signs Victory Lane is the place Bowie is going to go. How about that drive? It's Brandon Bowie who wins in Texas. I don't know how else I'll describe tonight's race. This was not Bowie's type of evening. He only led 19 laps. And those all came after the caution.
Championship caliber drivers find ways to win even on the night when they may not have the best car, even on the night when they may not have the best strategy, and even on the night where the circumstances don't work their way. those types of drivers find ways to win anyway. And that's what Brandon Bowie did tonight.
Take a break. We're watching just to see how this celebration's going to end. For Brandon Bowie, it ends in victory lane at the very least. You're watching Precision. Taking a look here as Brandon Bowie got the job done here tonight. Brandon Bowie getting the edge here this evening. Get a chance to look at your unofficial race results with Matt Cox coming away in second. He got within 2/10 of the 51. One more lap, it would have been really spicy. Brandon Fitter placed in third. Coffey and Donaldson in the top five with Murray, Gallimore, Harper, Garcia to ninth from 16th at the very end. Rogers got the top 10.
Said he could pass 5 cars, he ended up passing 7. Chris Vincent, 11th. Mark Sanchez, 12th. Pair of cars with decent, quiet runs tonight. Lane Wilson, 13th. Barry Sanders, 14th. The gamble almost worked for Kenny Reel in 15th. Not the night that I'm sure he wanted. Greg Carr, Jose Medina, 16th. And 17th, Johnny Shade had the trouble to bring out the caution to send us to overtime. We go 18th. Nigel Christensen, 19th. And Wayne Bowen in 20th.
21st went the way of Aaron Matthews tonight, a lap down. Kyle Hoda was 2 down with Nick King, Chris Davis, and Brandon Hochschild. You also had Moore, Metler, Lon with Breet, Mackin, Cornett amongst your top 30 this evening. We also had a couple of our drivers, Ashronoff, Mills, and Owens were on the entry list. Catalano is not allowed to start. So a lot to talk about with your top 3 competitors here. A lot of them staying pretty safe for the respective conversations right now. Well, let's break up some of those conversations because third tonight went the way of Brandon Fetter place. Brandon, how would you describe this night? You got a podium in the end.
Just never giving up, man. It's what I try to do every single race. Unless the car is too broke to fix. I just felt like I was constantly in a hole, so just had to keep digging.
So, in terms of how you were adjusting the car, what were you adjusting as the night went on here at Texas? And if so, what were you trying to counter and make adjustments to?
Actually, my car felt great. I really didn't make very many adjustments until there at the end. I pretty much just adjusted on the brake bias all night. There was just, for me personally, with the set that I had, I really had no complaints up until getting damaged there. The car drove great, and then after all the damage was repaired, it drove great again. So I really don't have, I really didn't make a whole lot of adjustments.
So with that in mind, how do you feel about the Glen next week? Road course racing, how fun!
I'm probably one of the few guys in this field that actually like road course racing, so I'm pretty excited to go to the Glen. I feel like we have a good set there. We've ran some practice, run some officials, and I feel like we got some speed there.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to here tonight?
Just thanks to Barry for for allowing me to be on Team Aero. Thanks to y'all for the broadcast. Thanks to Premier Setups for the awesome Rocket Fast setups every week. Thanks to everyone who watches these things. And hey, we'll go get them at the Glen.
Congratulations on the podium.
Thank you.
So third spot tonight goes the way Brandon Fenner plays here this evening. Second spot was almost a comeback for the 32 also. Dawson is with Matt Cox.
Yeah, Matt, obviously, the night you wanted in terms of recovery, you always want to win, but to get involved in an incident earlier in the race, the big crash on the front stretch, how were you able to really reset and recover from that incident, get back to a second place finish when all was said and done tonight in Texas?
Well, it's Moonshiners. You're never really out of it. I mean, unless you got the meatball flag. So I kind of just rode around and waited till I was up to speed and ready to go again, and then trying to use some strategy to try to get back to the front and have a chance, and just didn't come together.
Now let's talk about that strategy. On the last pit stop of the night where everybody took tires, some guys take 2, you take 4. What do you feel like went into the 2 tires being the better call? What did you feel inside the race car that may have, affected that a little bit and resulted in those 2 tires being the winning call at the end of the day?
Probably a mistake on my part. I didn't really think anybody would take 2 with that number of laps left. I thought the lefts were wearing pretty good and I'd have a good advantage. But then an idiot, and made a mistake and didn't fuel the car to get the weight back on the rear. So I was just tight and plowing after about 5 laps. And I had 5 laps of really good speed there. And then we got the next restart. And if I could have cleared quicker, I think I could have got at least to him. But, it is what it is.
To the road course next week in upstate New York, Watkins Glen, your initial feelings about heading back to the lefts and rights?
Dude, I hate road courses. I hate all of them. I mean, I'm not awful at them. I don't know. It feels like you're racing out there by yourself for the most part, and that's no fun. So we'll get through it and hopefully get on to some more ovals. And I don't know. Can't wait to get to Charlotte. That'll be a fun one. So.
Well, it's second for you tonight in Texas, nonetheless. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Let's shout out everybody, the team, everybody we run with every night, everybody shows up. Shout out Wayne Bowen. He hasn't been around in a while, and he finally came back tonight, so it's good to run with him. Shout out Brandon. He got him another win. I mean, he's gotten a few now, and even when you're not running up front, doesn't matter. So you can get a win from anywhere if the strategy pays off, and you can do it. So kudos to him. And everybody runs the league. So,
Matt, thanks for talking to us. Congrats on the second place finish tonight. We'll see you at Watkins Glen next week.
All right. We'll see you. Have a good night.
Matt Cox gets second, but Victory Designs Victory Lane awaits for one Brandon Bowie. He took the gamble on 2 tires, got to the front of the field, held on to it. Brandon, this was probably your hardest to win night in terms of your performances with checker flags so far. How would you describe it?
Definitely the hardest. From the drop of the flag, I felt kind of competitive, honestly. Didn't really feel like I was as fast as the Precision guys. They definitely had a rocket ship over setup this week, so I knew it was going to kind of be an uphill battle, especially for me. Like, for some reason, I don't adapt to this track very well lately, compared to the old Texas, which was one of my favorites. But it was just a challenge. Trying to come through the field, trying to stay up through the field, hit the wall a couple times. One, I think it was coming to the end of stage 2, I smacked the wall really, really good. That was like 3.5 minutes of damage. So basically I had to stay in the back, keep getting the damage fixed. Still never got it fully fixed. And I was content to finish, with a top 10. I think that's about where I would have finished. I was content with that, honestly. And the caution came out and really shook things up. And I said, well, we only got one shot, because if we're on 4 tires, we just don't have the fire off speed to really do anything. And in the official races, past week, I can say, I tried 2 tires, and it felt really, really good. As long as you made your adjustments and you made the right call when to take the 2 tires, then yeah, it had a great shot of actually working. And Kaja came out with 18 laps to go or something like that, or 20. Took the 2 tires, and I just went for it. And it was going to be interesting because BP was Federal Place was definitely catching me there at the end as I was building more loose than he was. I don't know if he would have been able to pass me, but it would have been a hell of a track race, there at the end between him and I.
It definitely seemed like one of those types of nights where it was going to be tricky, absolutely, with the way things were going with the clean air versus dirty. But overall, though, you now have the month of May with a ton of momentum. You've got a lot of things on the mind, of course, with Charlotte, with Watkins Glen, with the All-Star race. How do you feel about this month's slate of races in general?
I like Watkins Glen. I've actually been having a lot of fun there in the official races. So I know there are quite a bit of people who are pretty quick there. So that should be a fun race next week. So I'm looking forward to that. Charlotte is kind of hit or miss. It really depends on the weather. And it just depends on, how the track kind of works. If we're able to run around, the bottom, the middle, and the high line, I think it could be a really fun race. But if it's, because I believe that goes into a night race, right? So it's going to be interesting to take the transition from day into night. I mean, you're going to have to figure out a way how to build a setup that can handle both sides, or at least handle some of it, and then be able to make your adjustments, in pit road. So Charlotte, out of all the tracks coming up, Dover, as well, I know that's on the list as well. I would probably say Charlotte is probably the one that probably makes me the most nervous. Dover probably comes second, because that's, man, when people wreck there and you block the whole track, I mean, that's a whole nother level of frustration. So, we're just going to take it one track at a time. I haven't really, unfortunately, for the last couple of races, just really haven't figured out a couple things. And be honest with you, I feel like I just got lucky here with the way how the caution fell, and took 2 tires, and can make things happen here. But still got some work to do. Still got to get a little bit better here on the ovals, because I feel like I'm definitely missing something. So I just got to figure out what that is, and so that way I can really compete with, up front with the precision guys, because like I said, they're on these bigger tracks, they're fast every single time we come here.
I think you've answered just about everything I could ask here on the questions in terms of the 20 answers. But on that note, who would you like to give a shout out to here tonight?
I got to give a shout out to the league itself, you guys at the broadcast booth. Got to give a shout out to Team Arrow, and Barry, of course. Premier Setups for providing the amazing setups they did this week, or for this track, I should say. I gotta thank Nico Garcia, my teammate, for making this beautiful paint scheme. This is my Mamacita Sports foundation paint scheme. So it's if you don't know anything about it, check them out. It's basically Kobe Bryant's sports foundation. Donate if you can. Great organization. So I am very happy to put them in victory lane this week. It's been a lot of fun trying to reminisce about how Kobe Bryant was, how good he was as a player, and how good he was outside of basketball as well. So we're going to be carrying these colors the rest of the season. So I'm going to continue to try and have that Mamba mentality.
Well, on that note, Brandon, congratulations on the victory. Your 4th of the season. You get the job done at Texas.
Thanks.
Brandon Bowie goes to Victory Designs Victory Lane tonight. I'd like to thank him and the others for taking the time to speak with us here for tonight's coverage on Precision. Because the next time out, we go to Watkins Glen. It's a road course race the next time out. That'll be May the 13th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can catch that here on Precision Entertainment. On that note, Dawson, as we turn back over to the cams here for the end of this one, how would you describe tonight? As in the end, definitely strategy came into play late, at least to me. But what did you see with how things went, especially with the points leader scoring points late?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway, obviously, as we leave Texas, is that sometimes you just have to be in the right position and make the right call. And in the case of Brandon Bowie, that's how his 2026 is going. Remember some of the comebacks he made earlier in the season. I think back to Circuit of the Americas, his first win in this series. He had to make a comeback that night, too. Tonight made a comeback, not even as the best car, but again, championship caliber drivers find ways to end up in victory lane. And that's what Brandon Bowie did tonight. And good runs across the board. I can't say enough about Braden Donaldson's run tonight. I know it's not a win. I know he wanted to go to victory lane. But a top 5 this early in your career, by the way, back-to-back top 10 finishes to start his career in this series. That has to be noted. Paul Gallimore ends up with a top 10. Timothy Harper recovers to finish 8th after 2 laps of penalties. Nico Garcia ends up 9th. A number of really cool stories out of Texas tonight. That's been a story of the night so far. Chris Vincent and Mark Sanchez end up 11th and 12th. 2 guys still in the hunt for the postseason halfway through the regular season. Guys, maybe we didn't expect to be in the top 16 in points. So a number of stories here leaving Texas. And as we head to next week, how fun is road course racing? It's fun to call. I love to call road course races because of how unique they can be and how much different the racing can be to an oval, where a number of guys next week have this week circled as a week that they can go to victory lane. This is the race they've been waiting for. That's why you love road course racing. It's a wild card for a reason.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting time next time out, but it's just about time to take it for tonight. Goodbye for tonight's coverage on the Moonshiners Racing League. I'd like to thank you everyone for tuning in for tonight's coverage. For Dawson Wise and our producer Ryan Bauer and our cameras provided by Whiplash Sim Cams, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching tonight's coverage of the MRL and the GMD Janitorial Cup Series. Congratulations to Brandon Bowie, your winner from Texas.
Knuckle grip in the neon light, trading pain in the heart of the fight. Shifting gears till the edge feels right. Start 'em up, hear the engines cry. Let the thunder roll, leave no doubt. All or nothing when the checkers come out. Doors beating doors in an all-out fight. This is a Moonshiners Wednesday night. Wednesday night! Legends born in the heat of the fight. Trading pain under stadium lights. Racing roots run deep here. We're racing on a Moonshiners Wednesday night. Every track has a story to tell. Every wall has been one driver's hell. Back in the saddle we go. Ring the bell like a moonshiner. We're riding on rails. Checkers on record. Send it in, set sail. Legends born in the heat of the fight. Trading pain under stadium lights. Racing roots run deep here. We're racing on a Moonshiners Wednesday night. This is a Moonshiners Wednesday night.